Everybody, welcome to the pub. It's Saturday night. I hope you all are doing well. And we have some stuff to talk about. I'll tell you what. It's been an interesting week here in the United States, and I'm sure everybody around the world knows all about what's happening. Just let me know if there's any issues with my sound or anything. Good. Thank you, man. Good to see you guys, RW and Last Dance. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of a wild week. Something happened that I did not think would happen. Donald Trump won the presidency of the United States, and I really didn't see that coming. So, pretty crazy stuff, man. I think we're going to be okay. I think a lot of people think we aren't. So, I think we just move on, and if it's not for you, then get your people in there next time if you don't like it. You know, that's all you can do, really. That's how it works in our system. But I do hope that people who have big problems with it can find some comfort, I guess, in the fact that it'll be a new person in 4 years. So we'll see, whatever. But certainly a lot to discuss tonight, and definitely interested in hearing everybody's opinion about that. I personally did not vote for him, but I did not vote for Kamala as well. So, you know, he wasn't my choice. But like I said, life goes on. English Bottle Cap, good to see you. And thanks for being here, buddy. Had a bit of a long week. I was down at Paris Island. My nephew became a United States Marine, which was pretty cool. And he did really great. He's really matured in the last 12 weeks from the person that we watched leave to the Marine that he is now. And it is quite an impressive transformation. They do make Marines there. And I did have the privilege of seeing some new recruits that looked like they were having the worst time on earth. And to have my Marine explaining to me what they were going through was certainly enlightening, because he had gone through it himself. You know, like if you screw up and it's anywhere near lunch, they'll take your lunch, they'll put it in a styrofoam container, put it on the ground, and then tell you to stomp on it. And they put the food back on the fucking table, and there's your lunch, Marine. Enjoy. Like, these drill instructors are tough, man. They are nasty, but they make Marines, you know. So good shit. It's a good trip. Glad to be there for the young man, you know. Just get this thing. There you go, buddy. Good to see you, cup of tea. Yeah, they are hardcore, man. It's 12 weeks of hell, but once they give you a rifle and you get to start going to shooting the range and all that, it starts to improve. Prior to the rifle, it's pretty much hell. You know, like rough times. Yeah, right on, Biscuit. Good to see you, brother. An infrequent but always welcome visitor in Biscuit Vapes. Cheers, my friend. Gotta. My buddy brought this one down last time. Cenote Blanco tequila. Pretty good. Not the best, but hi, wife. Grover Cleveland. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's a good fact. Thanks for that, English and Last Dance. Good stuff. Who was between the terms for Grover Cleveland? Do we have that information? Seems like an interesting question. Um, Surprisingly, in South Carolina, well, not surprisingly, you know that the cannabis is illegal down there, but certain liquor stores can sell some forms of like cannabis. It's kind of crazy. So it's pretty much you can get something everywhere, which was an interesting discovery. The deep south, you kind of figure like there's no way. Unfortunately, Florida did not pass the legalization. They had they were going for 60% majority, and it only came out to about 55.5% for yes. So they will not be legalizing recreational cannabis, which is quite unfortunate. You know, for Floridians and legalization in general, but whatever. You got to move on, right? Votes always don't go the way that you want them. Just Steve, oh, welcome. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming back. I might go ahead and get this thing opened up fairly early here. Just because there's a lot to discuss, and I'm a little wiped out. I mean, I flew back today, and you know, it is what it is. So no big deal. Let me see if I can just grab a quick just gonna see what Aphid Lip's up to. You're gonna get that too. Last Dance. All right, cool. Private chat. Bust that out. Working on something, no problem. You ready, Last Dance? All right. How are you?
All right. Happy Saturday, Smokesteve, and everyone else. Happy Saturday.
Yep. Happy Saturday to you. Ask you right out of the gate, were you surprised with the way that it went down?
No, I wasn't surprised. I knew the polls were very close, and either way, it wouldn't have surprised me.
Okay. Wow, I was surprised. I tend to not trust polls, and it seemed to me that it didn't seem possible that he was that close with her. There seemed to be a much greater surge for her. I don't know. That might have just been the media, making it seem as such. But yeah, I was pretty much blown away at his he steamrolled the whole thing. It seemed like,
On the swing states, you mean?
Yes.
I mean, some of those were really close, and I'm not even sure. Like Arizona. I mean, I don't know which way Arizona's going to go. He's leading, but Arizona counts their votes so slowly. They're at like 85% counted now. California is like 85%, and what is this? This is the fourth day after the election. Now, if it had depended on those two, it's never going to depend on California. They're big.
No.
Never. But it could have depended on Arizona, depending on how things go, and what we would be waiting 4 days now and 5 days before we know. So it's just those states, those two states in particular, are the worst.
I can appreciate California because of its sheer size of population, even though
everything scales. You get more. Yeah. You got a big population. You got more people counting the votes.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm not letting them off the hook for it, but I'm just saying, in relative comparison to Arizona, the logistics of California are vast. But you're right, with technology, and it should expedite, but it doesn't seem to. But I mean, there's more people now than there was back in the day, but it seemed like they could count all the fucking votes years ago, and it was never a problem. You know, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think you should. The rule should be you got to count him. Maybe not by that night, but by the next night they got to be counted.
Right.
You get an extra day at most. Hey, goon.
Hmm. An extra day, exactly.
Yep.
There's Shell too from
Oh,
Goon Street.
hey, Shell.
Cool.
All right.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's get this old friend in here. How are you, man?
Hello. Long time no see.
Who's that handsome man? We got some Hollywood star on. Oh, it's Biscuit Face.
How you doing,
Boy,
brother?
oh boy.
I'm doing good. I'm having last of my gin.
For Bombay.
Yeah,
Bombay
I've only
sounds
got a little bit.
I always buy that because I love that color of that bottle. It's
It's
not a
nice,
good reason, but I just love that color. It looks so luxurious, the bottle.
It's good gin. It's mellow. It's super smooth. It's not what I would call a very interesting gin, like with tons of different variations of flavor, but it's so smooth.
I'm just having it with some sparkling lemon and lime.
Nice. I heard about that. Yeah. I don't really know the movie Candyman that Goon's talking about. So Tony
Neither
Todd, I guess he played Candyman.
Yeah, I never saw it. Candyman. I didn't even know. Never heard of Candyman.
Mm-hmm. Yourself, Biscuit?
Say again?
Do you know the movie Candyman?
I've not watched it, but I heard it referenced when I was a kid.
Okay. Yeah, never heard of it, man. All right, let's keep rolling.
It's the one where you say Candyman 3 times in the mirror and it comes to you or something like that. That's what I heard.
Well, I won't be sure to say it only twice.
I thought it was Beetlejuice that said this 3 times.
No, you say Beetlejuice 3 times, but Candyman, you stare in a mirror and say it 3 times and it comes and kills you.
Huh.
It seems like a bad deal.
Yeah. He turns up. Oh, yeah, I never saw it. Sounds kind of funky, though. Cool horror flick. Hey, it's Aphid. All right, you're here early. I like when Aphid comes here earlier.
I want to say hi to Anna, who's joined us in the chat.
Good to see you. I assume it was Anna, but I don't know. They'll have to answer that for you. Let's get this guy added on here. How you doing, Welston?
Good evening, chaps. Good evening.
Good to talk to you, Based.
Yeah, guess who's back. Gang. Guess
Sure
who's
is.
back. Guess who's back. Guess who's back. Guess who's back.
All righty.
The main man's back.
Yeah, he is.
We're here to talk about that.
For sure. I mean, we discussed last week a little bit about it, but boy, I didn't think we'd be here discussing this now. It's very interesting.
I'd like to chat about, is it 16 million or 20 million votes have disappeared into thin air? They appeared in 2020.
It's not that many.
They weren't there in 2016 or 2012 or 28, and they're not here this year.
You do know how votes work, right? People get disinterested in it and they decide not to vote.
First of all, that number 20 million was based on the number of votes that were counted on Tuesday night. As I mentioned, a couple of states have yet to count very many of them, and in particular, California has a huge number of votes still outstanding. Let me get an up-to-date number.
I mean, California called after 2 hours. Florida called after 2 hours, I believe. So it's quite crazy how some states can get it all sewn up, all done, and other states will take a week, 10 days to get a result.
Because there's so many mail-in and ballots that have to be counted by hand. But California still has an estimate. They've counted 72% of their votes. It's 4 days later. They still have about 4.4 million votes to count.
Plus, some states don't count until much later on than others, do they?
No, all of them count right away.
They
can't finish.
I mean, some of them start to count later until the polls have closed.
I think all of them start counting when the polls
only
close.
to do with time, set in Eastern time and all that. That's the only times it changes. They start counting at 8 o'clock in the night, I think it's 8. Is it? Is it 8 or 10?
No, it's whenever their polls close.
And
It's
some
different
don't
for every
close till
state.
midnight. Do some
Yeah.
close at midnight?
No,
I don't think
No.
they close that late. No.
I think they all close at
Maybe it was
8
I
o'clock.
think it was midnight in the UK.
7 or 8 is the
Oh,
usual
really?
number.
Yeah, but it's
They're-
like Biscuit. I know you said, "Oh, people get disinterested," but if you listen to what I'm saying, the extra say 16 million, which I think is the more
Yeah,
realistic
but if
number,
you think about it,
wasn't there
there's
28? It wasn't there 2012, and it wasn't there 2016. It appeared 2020, and it wasn't there 2024.
well,
It just
you've got to think that
it
there's
raises
300
flags.
there's 350 million people of voting age in America.
No,
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 there's not. There's
not that many.
350 million people
Is
in the
that the
country.
full population? 350.
No,
335. That's the population of the United States.
Yeah.
so
Voting
so a lot.
population, I think, is about 200, isn't it?
A little more, but yeah.
Okay. So there you go. And how many actually vote? Somewhere in the 150 zone.
I thought it was
Yeah.
like 14 or 150,
Ooh,
140.
I don't know.
Well, it's about
yeah.
If you look at the year on year, it's about 65 is the winner. Right in the 60s is the winner, and obviously the
Okay.
loser would be just a bit under that
Yeah, I got you.
generally.
Yeah.
People are saying this proves that the Democrats cheated in 2020, but there's the one guy says, why didn't they do it this time? Did they forget?
Well, no, because
It was 17 million, right?
No,
difference?
yeah, that's right. It was, but the reason why is because the
It's not
poll
gonna be that
watchers
many.
were through the roof. Through the roof, there were so many poll watchers there. I mean, it just raised flags, and this time round, the poll watching was through the roof. In fact, that was one of Musk's thing to organise the poll watching.
And
get
don't
all that
forget,
organised
you
and
have a
get people in
different
place.
candidate, and there's never been a female president.
The most
Right.
the most popular modern day president was Obama. All right,
We got a
Joe's not even in the
Canadian here.
league, not even in any league for anything. So let's not go there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
Fuck
think
me.
you're just trying to find figures and facts that support your claim, and there's no.
Well, you
actual
make a
proof for it.
claim to say, he was obviously Joe was popular, but as we all know,
No,
he's not
it
popular.
wasn't that popular. He never won by that much.
He did.
Well, it was close, wasn't
That's
it?
what I'm saying. Yeah,
No, he won
it
the
was
popular
only
vote. He won the
2%,
popular
wasn't it?
vote
Something
by
like that.
I'll find
Is the
out.
house done?
Google it.
No.
It's right on the
How's-
line.
That's going to be close, but it's not done yet.
It's 211 GOP to 201 Democrat, and all the remainings are leaning towards red. So I'm pretty sure that the Republicans have the House also.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Trump said time and time again. He's not for a federal ban on abortion, and he's not wants anything to do with that 2025 bullshit. So, now we're going to, especially if he has control of both, you'll see if he's going to stick to what he said or not. Like, what's your inclination on that?
Oh, church state's coming, bro. Even if he pretends like he's not 2025, his cabinet very much is so, and JD Vance is extremely backed by Peter Thiel. So I'm
So
expecting
you
a major
predict it.
push towards biometric.
Something to do with that 2025 thing as well.
Say again?
Wasn't Steve Bannon something to do with that 2025 thing as well?
No.
I'm not
that I
sure
know of.
by name. Not sure.
I don't think Steve Bannon is very Christian. I've never known that about him. Am I wrong?
He was also in prison.
Is he a Zionist though?
I don't know.
So there was 7 million in the popular vote with Joe against Trump. He was so popular, as we all know. He had 7 million.
7 million
Trump had
bugger all, though, in 200 million people that vote.
It's quite a lot. 74 million to 81 was the. I mean, don't even think Trump's at 74 now on this one, is he?
It will. We can put the possible cheating out the window for the moment, at least for my discussion right now. Like, assuming there wasn't cheating involved, was it her coming in too late or Joe leaving too early? Was that too late? You know what I mean? Like, should Joe have given up the goat way earlier?
Yeah,
It's all of the above.
yeah. I was going to say that everything you mentioned was working against Kamala, but I don't think. I think ultimately, none of that was what doomed her. I think it was her.
What doomed it? She was the wrong candidate.
That was the problem.
They had the wrong rhetoric. They talked to the American voters like they are still doing it today, legacy media, calling American voters racist, thick, uneducated, and they've been doing it for over a year. And
Correction, they're calling MAGA voters racist and thick.
Well, that's half the population. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's
they are the non-educated primarily.
You're not even learning, Biscuit. You're not even learning by that, because that's exactly my point. You're making my point for me.
Well, yeah.
So my question then is,
I agree with it.
That's probably
that's why the Democrats
there,
lost,
by the way.
And that's why legacy media, like Joe Swash, whatever his name is, the Joe Scarborough guy, he's still calling American voters thick as shit and retards and racist. Just what you did. He doesn't get it. The liberal media don't get it, and you don't get it, and that's why they lost.
But
that's all they were concerned about was trans rights and killing babies.
Did you hear about Seth Moulton?
No.
Congressman from Massachusetts?
No.
He came out and said something about, the focus on trans took away from the greater problems, and really yada yada shouldn't have been done. Now then, the whole fucking party went haywire against him. Like, this is their problem.
Though. He's right.
And their reaction is the problem. They're, oh my god, this guy, he's a fucking war veteran.
We're for women's rights, but we allow men with meat and two veg to compete in women's sports and go in there, but they can have an abortion. How dare you say? It's like the oxymoron of women's rights. It's like sticking men in private spaces and then involved in their sports. It's like what?
Yeah, and not only the act of it, it's also the focus that came from it. And, their focus on it then made, the Republicans focus on it, and it made this issue that probably affects a couple hundred people into this nationwide thing. I don't know, maybe a couple thousand, whatever, but it's...
You're right, Stephen. They pandered to the progressives in the party and made that like a big part of their campaign. Well, no one's fucking interested, and no one wants to be. Just they want to be able to afford.
They didn't make trans issues any part of their campaign.
Oh, they did.
It was not even mentioned. It was they very much kept away from it because they knew it wasn't a winner.
Seth Moulton's comments were talking about the party in general, the focuses of the party, the direction the party's going, and the ultra progressive side of it.
Take it easy, Anna. Great for you to stop by.
Right. See, Anna. The ultra progressive side of it, I think he was referring to kind of in general. And I think that he was pointing out in his mind that these aren't the issues that Americans are running into. Yeah, it's money, dude. It's fucking money. Half the country's in survival mode, We're just thinking let's just keep it together, week to week here.
And they're even calling the Latinos, because obviously Latinos voted for Trump, especially the males and Latinos in general. And they call them all racist, and then they started calling black men racist as well, which is always a bit of a you got black presenters calling black men racist and misogynist and stuff. I say, right, you're listening. You just carry on, trash talking like that. The population, and
I'd love to know where you get all your information from.
I mean, there's somebody. There's always somebody who says.
Do you want some stats, right? Biscuit? Let's give you some stats.
No, I don't want stats. I want to know where you get your information from.
Well, stats.
I don't care about stats. Where from? What website? What
Well,
What
I
social
go on the
media? What?
internet. I go on the internet and I put U.S. elections demographics. How's that? There you go.
Yeah, but that just does the demographics. What about all the other information, like the blacks
Well,
calling
this is quite
other black
important.
racist and stuff?
Well, it has a lot of it here now. So it says the white people voted 57.
On where? On I'm basically positing that you
National
get all your
exit
information off
polls.
X.
National exit polls. And
There you
it
go.
gives the breakdown. It gives the breakdown of black people voted for Trump and Latinos. It gives the ages.
Well, one thing that was interesting, me and Welshie were up forever watching the election results, and the Polymarket poll was almost perfectly accurate. And I thought that was interesting.
Oh,
A lot
was
of people were saying, like, don't look at the Polymarket betting polls; those are garbage. But they're actually more accurate than the people that were polling.
Yes.
Hmm.
So it
Were
gives
they?
you
Are
Quick,
you
let me
sure?
just say, hello
That's the
to
article that
Aphid
said
Lip.
Vance.
Hi, Aphid. Hi, pal.
Evening, gentlemen. Hope
Evening.
everyone's doing well.
Good to see
And
you.
hello to Gregory.
And Topla, are you already dressed up for Antifa rioting? Is that what you're doing?
No, I injured my face. I've been smiling too much this week, so my muscles hurt. So I don't want to
Oh yeah.
No, I know what it is. Gigantic cold sore. All right, no, I was
No, I don't get those. I lucked out.
Herpes.
There's nothing wrong. A lot of people have herpes too. Don't this? Some of our viewers might have it, and they might feel welcome here now.
Oh, that and toenail fungus. Get out of here, people.
I do have toenail fungus.
Oh yeah, I got thick nails.
I just want to say congratulations, everybody. It was a great week.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great week if you were a Republican.
Yeah,
big
why?
up.
I'm not a
It seemed like-
Republican.
It seemed like you were crying. I don't know why you think it's so great.
I'm not crying. If you guys want to get into that topic, we
I mean,
can. But
You're
you
definitely.
cannot blame Harris. You cannot blame Harris.
No, but can you blame the campaign in general?
No, you blame the Democratic Party.
Yeah, right.
How
That's
so?
kind of what I was saying before about the Seth
Yeah.
Moulton comment. The focuses are way off on what they're concerned with.
Do you reckon she
Right.
might have won if they had
She wasn't
Biden?
gonna-
If Biden wasn't part of it in the first place and had an actual election to get
No,
her?
she wouldn't win the
She
primary.
was
Voted
would've made it
first
into
out.
the-
She would've never won the
She
primary.
was voted first out in 2016. She's so unpopular as a
Oh.
general rule of thumb. Yeah, she was
So
the first
who
out
would
when
have
she had
won?
a
Who
Democratic
would have won the primary? Then?
primaries.
I don't know.
Yeah, who
Curious
could
who
have
would've actually run this
pulled
year.
it? Who
No
could have
one-
pulled this off?
I
No
think
Democrat
Gavin
had-
Newsom would have won.
No Democrat
he
had the
would've ran
balls
then?
to challenge him, so who cares?
Yeah.
They
I
got,
do.
they got rid of their most, I would suggest, attractive in intelligence and
Good
looks, which is
point.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Reasonable.
They
Good
got rid of
point.
Tulsi Gabbard, didn't they? So,
Well, she's
Tulsi
Republican or independent now, I guess.
well, she
Watching
was
Here's
all
a
what-
those
Democrat.
surfing videos.
She
here's
was
what I
a
would
Democrat.
say.
They kicked her out. They stuck her on a
The-
terror watch list.
The primary is a good way to test out candidates to see how they
She
do.
was first out.
And
So they should have had a full-on primary with many candidates.
here's what here's
challenge.
what I think. I think the longer Kamala, I'm sorry,
Whatever.
the worse she would have done.
Yeah, Biscuit. She didn't go through primaries this time. She was
I know
elected.
she didn't. Biden left and gave her the
Appointed. So
yeah.
I
know
Biden
that.
left.
No need to
Yeah,
argue about that, Welshman.
There
Yeah,
was
but
a
like I
short
said,
period of
that's how
time.
unpopular. That's how unpopular she is. They just literally fast tracked it through. Obviously,
If
Democrat
she's
Party.
unpopular, why would the hell would they pick her though? Come on.
They didn't pick
Because
her.
she
No,
was the vice president, and
Yeah.
not picking her would have been inexplicable.
I tried to
Well,
explain
She's
that to
blick
him.
So-
because she's
so-
blick. She's blick and she's a woman. Because
Let me
I'm not
let
being
me
funny.
tell you a
If-
story.
If
Let me
if
tell
I
you a
was
little
American, I would have voted for Camilla because she's a woman and she's a woman of color.
Let me tell you a story.
Obviously, good reasons. Obviously,
When I was a kid, Chicago's Mayor Daley passed away in office. The deputy mayor was a black man, and when the poobahs got into a room, they passed him over and gave it to some like random clown named Michael Blandick. And everybody was convinced that it's because he was black. You can't do that anymore. You know, if the president is not going to run, he's going to endorse his vice president. Otherwise, why would he have picked her?
Yeah,
And
but
if he
still
doesn't,
should have gone through a
if he
primary,
doesn't,
shouldn't she?
that's going to
She's-
be a lot to explain, and especially if she's black. How are you going to explain that? You can't
Let me ask,
explain it.
He would
on
have been
that
president
logic,
if
Last
Biden
Dance,
died
let
of
me ask you
anyway.
if she had been white Christian guy,
with the
would
same
it-
policies.
She would never have been picked.
exactly the same everything. Would
Yes.
it have been easier
She
for
never
them
got
to
picked.
separate from him, this new Cam, we'll call him?
You've got to
fantasy
see that
candidate?
there's never been a female president in America, so he
think-
would have automatically been rose up a little bit, wouldn't he?
I don't
No.
think she would have been chosen to be the vice president.
If it was a white dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Wait, you don't think what?
Go ahead.
If let's suppose Kamala Harris was a white guy. If that's the truth, then in 2020 or in 2019, 2020, Kamala Harris would not be picked to be the vice president by Biden. That doesn't, he wouldn't have been chosen. There's.
Well,
I thought
he was choosing a woman of color, didn't he? He literally said, "I'm going to choose a woman of color." That's why I was taking the piss making that statement, because people actually voted for her because she's black and she's a woman, and he said he was going to appoint a black woman.
I thought you were saying that if there was if there was a white man that was the VP right now that they didn't like, that they would look that person over for somebody else because he wasn't black.
I guess I didn't really.
I don't think that would happen.
I think if
whoever
it was
vice president.
No, I think they might. I think it was always a possibility to have some abbreviated primary, and I think there was pressure because the optics would be bad. It would look like they're trying to push Kamala out if they did that this time, and that's a non-starter. It wouldn't have mattered if it was a white male there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're the Democrat Party, aren't they?
But the one thing that you guys don't, some of you don't understand too, is the most powerful people in the Democratic, the Democratic Party. They didn't want Kamala, and they didn't give her support for days.
Yeah, you remember that time, right, Aphid?
Yes.
In between,
yes,
we were all saying, "What's happening?"
Chuck Schumer was the only one that came forward.
There was radio silence for a couple days, right?
That's because they were scrambling, trying to figure out. They wanted somebody else.
I thought that was a strategy of bringing out more people over time to keep her in the limelight.
Well, they all danced to the same tune, though, didn't they? They all danced to the same tune when ordered to. They all played their game. They literally licked its ass.
Well, the ones I'm talking about didn't have any orders. They made their own orders. There was no higher ups.
They were
Obama, Pelosi. They came far late to the game.
And the speaker, what's his name?
John Chuck?
Huh? No.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries. He held out.
Kind of strange.
Another thing as well, because Trump's such a misogynist, his first appointment as chief of staff. The first chief of staff.
Oh, come on! You could stop.
He's a female. He appointed a female.
That's your defense.
No, I'm just
exactly.
That's your defense.
Let's focus on this.
He's not defending anything. I'm just pointing out this female thing because he's such a misogynist.
Let's focus on this fact that she lacked support in some of the heavy hitters. What could that have possibly been? Because she was perceived, or in her past certainly was very progressive, and that's a direction.
That wasn't her problem. She wasn't a good
campaigner. Think that's why they avoided her, to avoid her ultra progressive past?
No.
They went back to 2019 during her debates. No one liked her.
She wasn't a good campaigner. She was actually a front runner.
Horrible. Behind
Biden, but still a front runner before the primary started in 2019. And she sank like a stone once she started getting out on the trail.
Topple's the only one that thinks she's good.
The only thing she's good for when she's opens her mouth is a shaft in and out. That's all she's good for.
Oh, don't say that shit.
Brutal, Elsie.
I don't think
That's
she's
fucking
not
true, though, isn't
good.
it?
I'm just saying, what are we hearing this week? Everyone's pointing fingers at her. They're not realizing, like, I'm talking about Democrats. It's your party is the reason. It wasn't just her. That's what annoys the fuck out of me.
Well, of course, there's
Of course,
tons
it's
of
not
reasons.
just her.
But no, but that's all I'm hearing is finger pointing.
That's
Finger
not
Well,
all.
I mean, what are
That's
you
not all
hearing?
I'm here. That's
No,
not all I'm
she's the
hearing.
figurehead, isn't she? I mean, that's basically why. But
You know what? I gotta say this much though. She was the reason Biden was kicked out is not just because he didn't look like he was quite there, but because the polling, their internal polling showed that he would get his ass kicked. That's why the main reason he was pushed
And
out.
he would have. There's no doubt in my mind.
Kamala did a lot better than Biden. Biden wouldn't have come close to the
I agree
total
with you
she got.
100%.
So
do you think
she was a big upgrade from Biden.
The polling and then obviously the debate. The debate was
at the map.
Yeah, and the debate was horrible, and it would only have gotten worse the longer the campaign season went on for Joe.
What happened to Ohio with that apparent 7-point lead for Harris? That fucking left, didn't it?
It was a lie.
It wasn't a lie. It was
11.
the
It was all a lie.
calculation that was wrong.
Christ.
Wait,
What were the first counts?
Well, there's a lot of polls, so
the cheat came in for Trump. Let's just say that.
Lee, turn
Oh,
your
so
camera
not
on for
actual
1
vote counts.
second,
This was
buddy.
polling you're talking about.
Out Poland.
There
Oh,
he
Paul.
is.
24 hours before it happened, they were all shouting about Ohio.
There's my homeboy.
The 3-point lead or whatever. But I was
Evening
the one
all.
poll, no other polls. And the end result was he won it by double figures. Well, that's a lie, isn't it?
What are you hearing, Topple? You were talking about. Oh, sorry,
Can I
Lee.
tell you? Sorry, mate. I'll tell you what. Another reason why I think she lost as well, big time.
She's a woman.
Maybe. No, it's the fact that it was a short campaign for her, 100 days. But more than anything, she was in a very, very difficult situation where her campaign team should have made a very strong decision. And the difficult position she was in is she said, "I'm going to change this, that, or the other." The critique is, well, you've been in power, you've been the vice president, so why haven't you sorted that out by now? What she should have done, I think, is broken away from Biden completely. Stop sitting on the fence. Let everybody know what you stand for. And if people do criticize you, go, well, that was then. I was loyal to the president. But if I'm the president, this is what I'm going to do. No one knew really what she stood for. She's been too protective, trying to not, almost treading on eggshells all the time. Whereas Trump, you know what he stands for. He's right out there. So I just think she played it too safe and it really backfired. She should have stood up and gone, those were the Biden days. These are going to be my days, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I stand for.
On that point, Lee, when she went on The View and Joy Behar or Babar, whatever the hell her name is, asked her what you're going to do differently from Joe Biden, she gave this roundabout answer that ended up being, there's not going to be much of a difference.
Well, there you are then. There you are.
Yeah. And I think people are like, what the fuck? Like, and I think they asked her that because they're super fans of hers, not realizing that
it was a softball question that they teed up for her. Yes. They hit it out of the park. And she swung and missed.
And she missed the ball.
She missed. She missed every time she was put to task, not just that time.
Right.
She always missed. And I don't know if she should have broken away from Biden, but I do think she could have said what she believed in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's an art. There is an art to not trashing the guy you were with, but still making the case that you would do things a little different.
Yeah, she could have easily explained that being vice president, she would have always been loyal to the president, to Biden, and of course she was going to support him. But that's my point. She could have then broken out of that. She could have qualified that and then gone on to say, "But this is how I'm going to do it. This is the difference." And I don't think there was any difference. I think people just thought, "Oh, we're just going to get the same," as Steve pointed out when she's been interviewed. So, they just played it too safe. If she was going to lose anyway, she should have just gone for it and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put more food on your table. You're going to have more money in your pocket. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. But she never did.
Just play the Trump card and lie.
Well, don't all politicians lie? Yeah, a bit like our government, Biscuit. Look at all the promises they've made and they've reneged on and pissed off the whole country.
Let's be honest.
She can answer. She
the
can
one thing
answer
I'll say
simple
about Trump
simple
is
questions. She's in
the
the
one thing I'll
50s.
say about Trump is Trump's lies are out in the open and clear to fucking see. Where
okay, Biscuit.
Same thing with Kamala, dude. Stop being with the pious shit.
Kamala doesn't lie. Kamala said her number one issue when she was doing many of her campaign ads, the first thing she would say is, "I'm gonna rein in price gouging." Okay, now there's no such thing as price gouging, but what do you think she was going to do when she became president to rein in price gouging?
Yeah,
which price gouging? As in like the pharma products, or
at the grocery store, prices are too high.
Not with medicines and stuff, because they had a good sales pitch for that.
No, not with.
Well, what it comes down to, Last Dance, is
once
she was
again, it's just
wait
liberal media you read. Even Last Dance won't agree with you on it.
She was waiting for
Talking
a
points.
natural disaster, and then for some small
And he's a
business
never
owner to
Trumper.
charge $15 for a case of water. Then she was going to swoop in, because literally that's the only type of price gouging that is actual price gouging, is taking advantage of people when they need things and upping the price at that moment.
Yeah, I don't even believe that's price gouging, but that's beside the point. The answer is she would do nothing. There was nothing she was ever going to do. When she said she was going to rein in price gouging, she was lying. And good for her.
Sounds good.
Because
It's
that's
just,
a good,
it's
a good point
statement
to raise.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
it's
what
like
do you
the Inflation Reduction Act. Okay, well, we're up 20% at the moment, so that fucking didn't work, did it?
Yeah,
You say
what do
we
do?
like you're part of America, my man.
Well,
Do
I'm
you
right
look-
though, isn't it? It's called the Inflation Reduction Act, and you're about 20% up. Well, that
Just to make
fucking
people
worked out,
feel
didn't
better.
it?
Well,
Yeah,
what
it
would she
sounds
do?
great.
Would she look at the bottom line of a company, say Publix, a huge supermarket chain, and say, "You're making too much money"? Like we're capitalists.
That's communism.
That's America.
That's communism. That's communism.
What you
She wants
said,
communism.
Smokesteve. They would pick out some poor slob and make an example of them, and it wouldn't matter. And that's the most she would do.
At the end of the day, if you put your prices up and someone else is cheaper, then they're going to go for the cheaper product.
Well, that's it. Let market decide, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah,
I have a
agree
question
with
for the panel. I'm curious how many on the panel think that America is going to be a stronger economy in 1 year from now?
1 year.
Well, I mean, it's already going in that direction. You could have said that a year ago under this administration, and the answer would be yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it will be unspectacularly.
Yeah, worse off place.
I think unspectacularly it may move in either direction.
But it's over four. I mean, where's the Dow right now? I got tired of it. It's just
markets are doing well.
Right?
The markets love Trump.
I mean, don't forget some of this depends on things outside of anybody's control. Bad weather, wars. I mean,
pandemics.
Anything can. Boeing goes out of business. Anything can happen.
That's what they should have. On that point, that what they should have done is made a point that everything was going in a horrible direction when he left office, and now everything's going in a positive direction.
But when he left office, it was going back up, and then it had to dip down.
No, it was not.
Let me find a chart.
Go for it.
I thought that's what it was going on. As soon as he starts sounding those, no more drilling.
And what they also should have made a point that America has done a better recovery than any other part in the whole world.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Wait there. We got a subject change from Steve's missus here about the tariffs. Can we talk about the tariffs? And we can talk about the tariffs.
How they
and let me just lead on to those. Sorry to jib in. There's just something else I want you to know, which you guys in America, you might have seen, but probably not been reported so much. I don't know, but when it comes to the world impact of your president being voted in, whoever he or she might be, it's amazing about the repercussions that then whiz around the world. It's this week on the night that Trump won the election. Obviously, a lot of European leaders a little bit worried. That will come on to tariffs in a minute. But what's really interesting is when you look at if we divide the world into being left or right, and people worried about people with right wing views, which is spreading throughout Europe. When Trump won the election, the very next day, and I think this is another thing that the left is really concerned about, is the I don't know if you know, but the German government went into meltdown, as in it's got a vote of no confidence now. So they're going to have to revote a leader. Now, one of the things that they're citing why they've got no confidence in the government, why they're going to have a vote for the leader, is that when Trump's was announcing he's going to lower taxes, he's going to do this, that, and the other. Because as Steve rightly says, we're living in exactly the same way, Steve. People are just living from week to week, hard to get money behind them, everything's expensive. And the German population is no different. And they're saying, right, that's what we want. Why can't we have that? We want, what Trump's saying is what we want. And now they're having to have a vote. And there's a large part of the right wing, because it's coalition government, that could take over. And I think Europe in the whole is worried that everything's going to swing. The fire starts,
Popularism.
and it starts to spread.
The boogie word, popularism. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. And it's beginning to have major repercussions. It really is.
Mm. All right, let's transition to tariffs.
So, basically, go on, Last Dance.
They're a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. Okay.
They're so terrible that I doubt he's going to follow through.
Why?
25%?
What are
Is
the
that what he
pros and
said?
cons? There's no pros.
No, there's zero pros.
They're
the only pro. The only. I'm sorry. I shouldn't jump over you.
You know, every country has tariffs. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, but what he's talking about
of
is
course,
protecting specific industries.
Correct.
And
if we could buy,
making it unviable for outside countries to bring in products so that you can sell your own.
No,
products.
you don't. You're the biggest market. You're one of the biggest markets in the world. If you want to sell in the US and not pay the tariff, you end up building one of your factories to supply US market in the US, and then you don't pay the tariff. It's pretty fucking simple.
Yeah, but
it takes a while. Factories don't.
I know it will take a while, but
in some
prices
countries
will rise.
Some countries that make automobiles pay their workers very poorly, but they still produce a decent car. If you were to not increase the prices of some foreign vehicles, they would drastically impact American automobile manufacturers. So they do that already, but it's within reason to make the pricing competitive to American-made trucks and cars. Now, what he's talking about is like above and like tariffs do already exist to sort of equalize the playing field, I guess. And at least with
banning Chinese imports without actually banning them.
My understanding of the concept
is that
it makes the market stronger because
that's what tariffs do essentially.
It's incentive for American-made products to be bought and sold. That's my understanding of the purpose of the tariffs.
Yeah, but it's incentive. But how that incentive works is by making the foreign product so expensive that it's, you then forced to pay why the American product is cheaper, but it's not cheap. It's now become, maybe a penny less. The goal is to make the foreign product 1 penny more than the American product.
That's right.
People will switch to the American product.
What's wrong with trying to bring manufacturing back to the country? Remember, 20, 30 years ago, you manufactured so much of your products, and now you just import it from the Far East, which is not good for your economy anyway.
It's inefficient.
A major issue, though, is quality. I think quality has suffered greatly, and if American actually can make good quality products and people wanted good quality products instead of cheap, fast garbage, that would be different.
That's all part of the market. The quality is in the price. And it's what it's what you buy.
You can't really get quality. You can't really get quality in a lot of products these days. You literally just get Far East, and that's about it.
Well, I don't know. Let's look at cars. Japanese cars are more expensive than Korean cars.
Well,
that's the same throughout Europe. If you go to France, 90% of the cars driven are either Citroen, Peugeot. They're all French made. It's the same in Italy and it's the same in Germany. 90% of the cars you'll see on road a Mercedes,
Exactly.
and then you'll see.
I would never do things like France does them.
But no, but the thing is,
In
it
the
creates
US.
such employment. It creates such employment to the country that they're.
What about
we have
what
full
about-
employment in the U.S.
What about manufacturers that buy bulk items, say like casings or plastic bottles, to put their products in, and it's cheaper to buy that product from China
right.
currently. But
Exactly.
after Trump gets in,
There's
that
a
will make
supply
the
chain, a
products
whole
you
supply
buy
chain.
in America more expensive.
It makes it much more expensive. Tariffs have always been a failure.
Well, I mean, I remember when Trump was in office, when I believe it was Chrysler or Ford's were going to put their manufacturing of it was Chrysler Leon, I believe it was one of them. So it was Chrysler. They were going to put their manufacturing in Mexico. Trump announced, "You ain't fucking sticking it in Mexico." He said, "If you stick it in Mexico, we'll put a 20% tariff on it." Guess what? 24 hours later, the Detroit one was announced as it's staying open, and they're
And
giving
guess
up
what?
that Mexico business.
Chryslers are more expensive because of it, and that means less money in the pockets of the middle class people who buy.
And there was 3,000 families that, because of that problem, have now got a livelihood. And don't forget the shops and all the other businesses that back off that.
Yeah, last dance. I just want something. I just want to challenge you a little bit on that. If a Chrysler's costing a couple of $1,000 more, but it's creating a factory with 3,000 people in it carrying on work that can pay taxes, why is that such a bad thing?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know if you
if that's the end result. If that's the end result, last dance, it's not good.
I mean, how do you compare 3,500 jobs with 200,000 or 300,000 people having spent having $2,000 less in their pocket? I don't know. But it's certainly not an obvious win one way or the other.
Right.
Also, because
it is because
market.
wait there. It is because those people were employed at the time, and those jobs were definitely going to disappear because the move going to Mexico. All those jobs were saved, and all the people they buy from all the different shops as well. So all those shops get benefit from it. I mean,
so the same thing happens when you have $2,000 more in your pocket. You buy things, and those people buy things. The same multiplier.
On the door, mate.
I was just about to say, last dance. You're quite right in the fact that you still have a choice. You don't have to buy that car. You can go buy one cheaper. But what you got to remember as well, let's start looking at the costs of something else. If you take a town, it's decimated by the fact that factory's closed down. They've got no work. You've now got a host of other problems. Whether it's drugs, whether it's health, whether it's the well-being of that town, thinking they're contributing to the country. It goes on. It's like a domino effect. So it's not always about money. It's about the fact that there's a group of people in a town that feel that they're worth something, they're contributing, and they're part of the country.
And
I mean, it's massive.
I think
instead of buying that brand new car and posing to the neighbours, you don't buy a brand new car posing to the Joneses next door. You buy a car that's 3 years old. Does it make a real big difference? It's all material, the material thing.
You're putting emotions into a statistical mathematical
livelihoods.
equation.
I'm putting families and communities.
Hey, your iPhone,
I know, but
your iPhone is manufactured in China and then constructed in America. That's an American company, which would have to pay even more, which will then put those costs onto you for your phone.
Are you sure? You do realize that all the Apple factories in China have got suicide nets, like in prisons, on the outside of the building because they chuck themselves off it. You do realize that?
It's
Conditions,
Conditions. Apples are made in a factory.
I've seen the suicide
they
nets
grow
all
on trees.
over.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What's that got to do with the price
in China?
Conditions.
You could.
I still don't.
You could save 1,000.
Don't talk to me about human rights when you're promoting what Apple do to their employees in China when you see what's going on there.
But the thing is, what I don't understand is you've still got a choice, Biscuit. You don't have to buy the brand new iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you want the latest thing.
Well, there we are. Material. See, material things again.
Sorry, I cut out. I cut out there. Biscuit. I was saying.
What
I
about
cut out
what
there.
about all
Well,
those
if
jobs in California that
just remember this. Just remember this. If you don't have to buy the latest iPhone, and if it's more expensive because they've got to bring it back into the USA to make it, then the increase in costs means you don't have to sell as many. So you still make your money.
Yeah, that makes your argument mute though, because you were on about it making more jobs. But if less people buy phones, then there's less jobs.
No, they would. No.
It's one item.
Like I said, you still buy cars. You just don't buy a brand new car. It's the same.
My
question: who buys the car that you buy in 10 years?
My question is: are the parts that are being used to manufacture goods in America being affected by the tariff, or is it completed product?
Yes, they are.
You're sure? You have a source on that?
Wait, I don't know.
Yeah. My bottom line is, you can do anything you want. Just don't pretend that tariffs is like a uniform good thing. I mean, it's true that we don't have the manufacturing that we used to have. It's true that can be a problem, especially in a goddamn war, when you'd want manufacturing base. All these things are true.
Very true.
And it's also true that when you raise tariffs, everything is more expensive, it's less efficient, and that global wealth suffers because it's an inefficiency. Now, I don't care what we end up doing, as long as we do it with our eyes open, with full knowledge of the effects. That's all I really care about.
Well, if you want to know the effects, the United Kingdom is a good test book because we don't manufacture anything anymore, and that's why it's hard to
Don't you manufacture Bentleys? I mean, it only takes 550,000 to buy one. So
do you know how many Bentleys are made? That's not like that's not proper manufacturing.
Well, considering only 10 years ago, I used to work in a manufacturing plant of radiators. We manufacture plumbing equipment and things like that.
Mostly gone bust 5 years ago.
Yeah, that shit's heavy too. So bringing it over by ship, of course, is going to contribute to global warming.
I mean, anybody who says that tariffs are a panacea, if we just put more tariffs on American jobs will come flowing back, it'll be just like 1960. Well,
no, I'm not suggesting that, but it needs to be filtered in and it needs to be carefully in place. And I think if it's done carefully, right, and correctly, I think it can benefit. Well, it's there to benefit.
Is it possible to become a stronger country with the tariff model in place if we adapt into
not the way we'll end up doing it? No, because we'll end up doing it because lobbyists for whoever doesn't like competition will, and whoever is a Republican donor will come in, and that's the tariffs we'll slap on first. It won't be rational thinking that will get us there. It will be politics as usual, and it'll be a clusterfuck.
Did anyone see Kennedy's little speech he did about food? I seen it on Twitter earlier on 6 minutes. Did anyone see it?
No.
No, but I can tell Dan's excited.
He named about a dozen products. He had them on the table, Cheez-Its and stuff, Doritos. He named them all to be containing. He said, I'm consuming tartazine today. He said, and
which
basically
is yellow 5.
That's correct. Comes from coal. It comes from fucking producing, doing something with coal as a byproduct. Right there.
Yellow way.
It's toxic to the human body.
Even water is toxic to the human body.
Come on, last dance, chill out.
We've been through this before. There's no such thing as natural versus non-natural. It's all chemicals, and it doesn't matter what they are.
There is natural colors. There is natural colors out there,
but they're not necessarily safer.
They're more expensive. They're more expensive. It's all about money. Stop it. Come on, last dance.
How about that blue color?
Can I tell you?
It was a byproduct. It was a byproduct. It was a byproduct before they realized they could use it in human food. Right now,
can I tell you?
Let me just finish off my point about this. Right, it was a 6-minute video, and he's picking up like at least a dozen brands. And there's no reason to have that tartrazine in those products because we don't have them in Europe. They're not in Australia, and they're banned in those countries, right? So think about it. They're sticking shit, particularly in American foods, and it seems to be your not guidance, but your rules on it. You allow much worse products to go in. Exactly as even M&Ms, all sorts of products. They're not the same.
There's an example where
I
tariffs are
can't
going to
tell
hurt it.
you
I
how
love the
little impressed I am that something is banned in Australia or banned in Europe. That's not
I mean, if
impressive.
we're going to get into that, I mean, Fanta in
That's
America doesn't even contain orange juice.
I love
Well, I
the
mean,
vegan
Correct.
that's fighting
That's
this.
correct.
It's
It's
probably called
true. It's true.
a
Good
non-nutritive
idea, AJ.
food additive with color enhancing properties, which is pretty much useless. The first thing
Yeah,
it
but
would be
it's
called is
also inert, I'm
non-nutritive.
guessing.
Adds nothing. Hi AJC. Eat healthy.
Yeah, put down his
Eat roadkill.
toxic qualities.
Can I
Put down
can I
his toxic
can I
qualities
tell
on it.
you? Can I tell you a little story that goes off on a completely different tangent? We'll come back to what we're talking about, but
Let me
it's
get
just
some
because you
popcorn.
mentioned
Go ahead.
because you just mentioned Bentley. So one of my good friends, he works for Bentley. They're down in Crewe, just south of Manchester, by about 30, 35, 40 minutes. Yeah. Back in the probably about 2010, 12, they get a order for a bespoke Bentley, which is probably about 180, 190,000 pounds from some guy in the Saudi Arabia for his son. It's for his birthday. So they build the car because it's obviously bespoke, so it's like 6 months' notice or whatever. And my mate gets charged with, not just him, there was about 3 other guys. It's got to be delivered, so can you take it to Saudi Arabia and deliver it to this guy's, he was a prince, by the way, this guy, and it was his son. I think they've got
Get
loads
this
of
in an
princes
email.
out there, though. So they sail across with the car and they get into the port, get off, drive on their way. And part of the reason why they have to deliver it is to take the son through the car and also take him for a drive because it's a powerful car and he's only 17. So, yeah, exactly. So they take him for a drive and on his way back into the complex or whatever bloody palace that he lives in, he clips the wall and scrapes the side of the wing. And they're like, "Oh fucking hell! You've only had this car like a few hours."
They sent the team out, didn't they?
No, they didn't. What happened is he asked them to stay there and went to see his father, and then his father came down to speak to them and said, "Right, basically, we don't want the car because this is a bad omen, and I don't trust the car now." He didn't blame his son. He said it was a bad omen. He said, "So can you take it back to the UK and we want another bespoke one. Just write this off. I've paid you. I don't care. Just go." And so they were like, "Are you kidding? Because we can just replace the wing." And he goes, "No, it's got bad omens in it. My son's not driving it." And they had to put it back on a boat and bring it back and build a new bespoke Bentley for him.
Went back and replaced the wing and said it was a different car.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they did, but no, he told me they didn't. They said he promised me because I asked that question. I said, "Surely." Yeah, no. So, oh my God! Sorry, just a little side story there from a few years ago. Jesus.
Well, I hope they charged him double for the second one.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't think money was any any capital. They could afford whatever they wanted.
What's the like the bespoke one? But like Cosworth with Ford. What's Bentley? It's they have like a coach build company.
Great hood ornament.
Yeah, you can choose the leather, the color and texture of the leather, and change the dashboard a bit.
It's not the Wraith. It's not the Wraith. But Matt Armstrong, he got a YouTube channel. He bought Marcus Stratford, one of England's best footballers. He crashed it. It's on YouTube. He crashed it. But when he replaced it and rebuilt it, he actually bought another Wraith. Right, and literally just took parts off. It was cheaper for him to buy a car for £99,000
Fucking hell.
to replace the parts on his £700,000 like hand built one. All the parts were very much interchangeable, but what was even funnier, what was not interchangeable, and you find this on all these luxury products, is you get like it's like a fuse box that comes out of a fucking Volvo, and it's in a fucking like a
Oh my God,
Ferrari.
base! Yeah, I saw
It's
that because
crazy.
it actually had the Volvo emblem on it, didn't it? You're like, hang on a
Yeah, but
minute.
it's not even an exception. It's part of
Reduce,
the rule
reuse,
generally.
recycle.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, but the great thing about it all, you take the part number, you don't try and order it from them because it's £1,700. So because Ferrari it was, what you do is you get the part number, just put the part number in Google, and it comes up as a Volvo part. And it
Yeah,
literally,
that's right.
and he's compared it, and so many times they're just like
Yeah, I saw that.
BMW
Was funny.
parts.
Would you be if you bought it off a Bentley and it come with Volvo badge on?
I think the only thing
So-
that they've had problems with is the Bugatti. All Bugattis are quite unique, even the electrics.
Yeah, Bugatti Veyron is a very expensive. Now there's a new one. I think it's called the Chiron or something.
Yes, yeah,
The
Chiron.
Bugatti Chiron.
It's 1,500 horsepower.
So changing the subject again, how long do you think it's going to be before? Do you think this Ukraine war is going to stop now?
This is my opinion. I was going to say this a minute ago. By the end of February, it should be all over and done with. A third of Ukraine will be in Putin's hands, and the plus 500,000 to 1 million men sacrificed, sadly,
For nothing.
For nothing.
Donald Trump's only plan is Europe and Putin and Zelensky have to make a deal with each other. That's the only plan.
That's what I just said.
That deal will be you're going to have to accept the fact that 20% of your country now belongs to Russia, or a third, whatever. Yeah.
And you're not allowed to join NATO. Do you think Zelensky's going to go for that? I don't think so.
He's not going to have
an option. I don't think he's got a choice, Biscuit. He's not going to have a choice. He's not going to have a choice.
Just for example, do you realise that if Trump pulled the plug of military aid, they wouldn't last weeks? You understand that, don't you?
They would last more than weeks. They would fight till tooth and nail. They would just lose more people.
And I got news for you,
mate.
Trump is not going to pull the plug. I know it's real.
If you look at if you obtain your information from various different sources, and I mean a lot, there's one common factor. Number one, there's apparently the morale has gone down completely with the soldiers on the front line because Trump's won, because they're worried about what he's going to do. But secondly, before that, and I'm getting pissed off with Western media being so biased, making out it's all they're holding the line. The desertions are in their thousands. The Ukrainian men, they've been fighting for so long with no rotation, and they're absolutely exhausted. And they're like, I'm just fed up with it. I can't do this anymore. And they're deserting in their thousands. The front line's crumbling. There's towns. The land now that the Russians are taking each day is not just like a kilometer. It's like 15, 20 kilometers every day. They are now advancing at a rapid rate. Oh, mate, I'll send you some links. And these aren't from people being biased towards Russia, by the way. They're like, this is the true picture. And they can what's that thing where you do it with the satellite when they show you the video and go, right, they were standing right there.
Geolocate.
Yeah. And they so they're not bullshitting, but the Ukrainians I feel sorry for them. It's not like I'm against them. I feel sorry for them.
What is the projection? Does that mean that the war is actually moving towards a close because it's crumbling?
Yeah.
Well, I think my opinion is if Zelensky doesn't get round the peace table soon, he'll lose even more of his land. He's gonna accept the fact he's not going to be able to get all of it. They'll have to come to some compromise. But the more it goes on now, the more land that the Russians will take. So
they're taking land daily at the moment. I read out a title of one of my regular downloads, and he's a really honest guy. He's not pro Putin. It's that Willie IOM, the Australian veteran.
Well, if it's that easy, then Russia's not going to accept a ceasefire arrangement. They're just going to keep going.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if there is a ceasefire,
they're taking Russian-speaking Ukraine. That's what they're taking.
If there is a ceasefire, it will be just like Crimea. They'll take the land they've got, and in 4 to 5 years' time, they'll start again.
Last dance. About a week ago, it was thrown out there that maybe there could be a ceasefire, and Putin turned it down. And that tells me a lot that he's confident that he can move forward. But here's another thing. This tells me This is weird. Get a load of this, right? And you can look this up. Type her name in and what she said. There's a lady called Juliana Smith, which is the ambassador for NATO from the USA. And it's a lifetime role as well. Once you've got it, you don't have to be worried about re-elected. Zelensky put his war plan, didn't he, forward, and they reviewed it, this, that, and the other. She turned around and said, and was, I watched it. I actually watched it. But you can look this up. That she is happy for the United States of America to still work towards an invitation to NATO. That can take decades, by the way. That's just an invitation. That doesn't mean you're going to be a member. And that 7 countries have voted blocking them against that invitation. And that included the United States of America and Germany, the 2 biggest players, and then places like Hungary, Bulgaria, this, that, and the other.
You know why they blocked it though?
So
because they're scared shitless. They can't afford them to be part of NATO because there'll be World War III. Germany knows it and America knows
now,
it.
If the ambassador for NATO for the United States of America is saying that, Zelensky hasn't got a fucking chance, excuse my language, of being able to join NATO any time in the next 10 years anyway. So he is buggered. He needs to stop being America's puppet and get round the table and talk peace.
I think you're just seeing it 2D. There's more countries involved in this.
Biscuit, I am quoting the NATO ambassador from the USA. You can look it up right now. See what she said. And 7 countries have blocked them from joining.
The USA ambassador. What about the Germans?
It's just like the German ambassador.
What about the South Koreans? The South Koreans are looking at getting involved. Poland wants to get involved.
Why do you want to enlarge it, Biscuit? Why do you want to enlarge it?
I'm not enlarging it.
Take the USA over. If 6 European countries have blocked it, it tells you everything. They don't want it to be. Also, there's the European Commission who are still investigating these things: corruption in education, health, general business. It goes on the list because they've not concluded yet because they know it's such a corrupt country. It's
let me
unreal.
ask you this. Are you familiar with, at the beginning of the invasion, I believe this was around, I'm not quite sure exactly when, but the regular army was getting decimated by Russia. So they ended up actually, like Ukraine, I don't know what the real word is, but they were basically paying sort of like militias to fight against Russia. Yeah. And a lot of them had a WP or N blank A blank Z blank I type of thing going on with them. And the Ukraine actually paid some of these groups to contribute to the fighting. That's common knowledge. I'm not like making this up out of thin air. You've heard of this, right, Last Dance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
this is the root of the problem that I think a lot of people have with this thing, is the use of these people. And did our money go to pay for these soldiers?
I don't think people have a problem with them being used. The problem is we're giving them weapons, and they're really not. I wouldn't trust them to give them back if a peace is.
They don't. They're on the black market. In France, they found a load of rifles in France, sniper rifles, fucking big.
I don't think people are as worried about them putting it on the black market as they are worried about them keeping it and becoming like an internal militia that has to,
the other problem you've got, Last Dance, is this. There's 2 major problems which the West are reluctant to report on. They touch on it, and these are the 2 things. Number one, if you're going to supply an army with loads of armaments and equipment, you need a good size army to be able to operate it all. Number one, they haven't got the soldiers, not in the numbers that they need. So you can supply them all this stuff, but they haven't got enough soldiers to operate it. And number 2, they've not only are they so low on soldiers, there's videos you can watch now on YouTube and for a while, but there was one a couple of weeks ago where there are conscription officers out in city town centres grabbing men coming out of nightclubs or restaurants, and they are arresting them and sending to the front line. How can you win a war when you've got a load of soldiers that don't want to fight? is just a complete disaster for him. And
because they know that basically the sad thing about it all, even with the hardened people in Ukraine, they're realizing that they're not going to get this land back. They're
I
basically
think they're starting to realize that they're going to lose money. Also, their support is now
the
done.
country. I mean, I think either it's going to be. I think sneakingly it could end being an Islamic country in 20 years, because I think around the population is about 38 million. I think about 18 million have left, right?
Oh.
What's left has been wiped out. The vast majority of breeding males would have been wiped out. Okay? Breeding males. The women are fucked off. There's only the old people left a lot of the time. The country's ruined. Ruined.
Sounds like there's a lot of real estate then.
The truth of it is, like, part of me feels like we've gone this far. Like, I don't want to just give up on them. I kind of do feel like they are a country that was invaded. I don't want to throw in the towel.
Steve, it will go on for years if that happens. It will just go on for years.
That's the sunk cost fallacy.
That's what's the problem with Vietnam, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is a fallacy.
Afghanistan. Blinken said the whole point of the whole thing in Ukraine is to weaken Russia. So they don't care. Basically, he's announcing he doesn't care about Ukrainian losses. All he cares about is making Russia a weaker country.
It's Ukraine's choice to keep fighting if they want to keep fighting. It should not be anyone else's.
Look, here's what I want to see. I want to see negotiation. That's what I want to see. I'm not saying where it has to go, and I'm not saying that we will tell Ukraine what to do. I'm saying we should negotiate, and it should be based on reality, because all negotiations are. And I don't see that happening now. It seems like we're just not doing it.
Well, do you think Trump's going to push forward with an ultimatum or a negotiation?
Yeah, both.
They're both the same thing. It's all the same.
AFAD, calm down.
Huh?
I mean, we could hear every noise.
But you've also got to remember that since this war started, in terms of the armaments that are being supplied, as well as there's so much going on behind the scenes in terms of making money. I think I said to you a few months ago, the United States now has 67% of the gas market of Europe, because obviously we're not getting it from Russia, and then and we're just as guilty in terms of supplying with a loophole of supplying what's the word I'm looking for? Technological sort of chips and this, that, and the other through Azerbaijan or Azerbaijan, which then goes up through into. So they all they know. I can't remember. I can't. Sorry, last night. I really can't pronounce it. But anyway, my point is this. I know. But my point is, there's so much going on, but behind the scenes where it's making money. I've always said this is the best war that the USA have ever fought. There is no soldiers on the ground. There are no American lives being lost.
That's what Blinken said.
They're quite happy for to string this out and make billions of dollars. I mean, and I've said to you before, just look at the profits of Lockheed and everybody else. It's all about money. It always is, and innocent people lose their lives.
And weakening Russia and exposing Russia too.
Well, you say weaken them, but I said to Last Dance right at the beginning, it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize how weak Russia is. But we're throwing everything at them, and they're still advancing. So they're not that weak, are they?
Okay, Last Dance.
Yeah,
they are. Blinken, I keep talking about.
Hold on,
what's his position?
Let me engage with AFID a little. You think that Russia is weak?
I think that they're fully extended. Like they couldn't do something anywhere else right now.
Nope.
I mean, unless they want to throw their might that they have nuclear weapons.
So their economy is outperforming. Their economy is outperforming Europe in total.
No, I think that as far as manpower goes, they have nothing. They're pretty much fully.
Do you think this is a shrewd move, Aphid Lip, by the United States to use this as sort of a proxy war to weaken our ultimate Cold War enemy?
I think Mitch McConnell said it best. You know, we're not our risk is very low and our reward is.
Well, let me tell you a few things that aren't going the way we wanted. Russian arms production has skyrocketed. They are producing
104.
weapons at a rate that should scare NATO, and we aren't. We can't keep up. And this is something we forced on them, and they did adapt. So it's I agree with you that this Russia has been proven to be weak, but this whole thing has made them double their production, triple. I mean, they're
and just to add to that, can I just jump in? Just to add to that, because you know, obviously all the Western companies pulled out of Russia, didn't they? Adidas, Nike, McDonald's, and all these things. Well, a lot of them just reopened, and they're called McDoodles. The food's virtually identical. They've even used the same computers. They've kept the fucking furniture there, everything, right? And you know, you said about tariffs.
Except for Burger King. Burger King never moved out.
It's a bit like self-imposed tariffs. In fact, you've just made a lot of managers that ended up buying the places off McDonald's in the end, and then they mostly all done all right on it.
I mean,
like last
doesn't
dance,
matter.
very good point, is that they forced their hand, and they're in full-time production. They've been in full-time production.
If that's true, then why are they buying? Why are they buying their arms from North Korea and from Iran?
Because they got tons of fucking shells, so many shells. So many shells, you don't understand. They've got so many shells. They sold them. I can't remember the number. It was like,
all right, Biscuit. Can I just throw that back to you as well? Why Ukraine buying shells from America and every other Western country that has supplied them as well? That's why Russia's doing it. That's why. But that's why Russia's doing it.
Give me 1 second. Ukraine was demilitarized because America and Russia told them that they would be left alone if they got rid of their nuclear powers.
They've got the second biggest army in Europe.
Yeah, but now they have.
They did have 10 years ago.
Biscuit, we go back to the old argument. If you it's a bit of a read, but if you read the Maastricht, not treaty, the Accord, when the Berlin Wall came down, that's when all the deals were done with Clinton, and there was the German president.
But there was a promise.
No, but my point is, let me finish. Let me finish. Part of all of that war coming down and Russia cutting back on their nuclear missiles, taking them out of the Ukraine, and this, that, and the other, was based on the fact that America would never invite Ukraine into NATO. Now, when it suits America, and not just, I'm not going to just blame America, because there was France and Germany as well. Oh, that doesn't suit us now, so we're just going to rip that up. It's an international agreement, last thing I'll say, and then you can answer. Right? It's exactly the same situation, and we've come back to this before. When Russia wants to move nuclear missiles into Cuba, Kennedy's ready to start a nuclear war, saying, get out, you're not doing that. But it's all right for America to do that in Ukraine. No.
Well, I'm sorry, but
I don't want to hear your revisionist history on the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I'm sorry, but Russia rolled into Ukraine.
They wanted to put nuclear missiles into Cuba 70 miles off the US Florida border, and obviously that was not what the Americans weren't happy about it. But how are the Russians supposed to put up with it on their border?
I'm sorry, but Base Welshman and Lee, you both sound very Russian, pro-Russian.
Here we go. Just stating facts is pro-Russian.
Yeah, you are.
No, it's about. It's not about one or the other.
What's unfactual? What's unfactual? What's unfactual? Wait there. Last answer. What is unfactual about the Cuban crisis?
It's not a matter of taking.
Crisis.
You should put yourself in Russia's shoes too. We all should put ourselves in our adversary's shoes, and that helps us understand.
Ones that are blown out on the bottom.
No,
I can't put
I'm saying here's the Western argument. NATO is a defensive group. There's no threat to Russia. Here's Russia's point of view. There's troops there with guns and tanks and missiles. What do you mean they're defensive? They look like an offensive army to me. And that's what they are. There's no such thing as a purely defensive army.
When you look at the world, you see Russia in the center. Three sides of Russia has got nuclear weapons pointing at all the major cities, right? All from American bases throughout the world. There's
China and Russia.
There's not. There's not because if you look at Russia's border,
Russia has more nuclear weapons than
Yes,
US
but
and
but they're not
UK
surrounding the
combined.
US, are they? They're not surrounding the US.
They don't
Well,
need to.
all the way
They're-
from
they're
the far.
keeping-
Listen, please. All the way from the Far East, all the way to Europe, there's nuclear weapons pointing into Russia. That's not the same. There's no nuclear bordering countries to America. And when they tried it at Cuba, it caused carnage, and
It
I
doesn't
understand
matter
why.
where you're
Yeah,
stationed.
the other thing you got
They're
to remember,
surrounded.
and Based is
Biscuit,
quite right in that
it does matter.
if you bring up a NATO map and NATO members and look at the years that they joined, they are surrounding the Soviet Union. There's no doubt about it. Now the Ukraine, with those agreements back in the day, was that wasn't going to happen. They weren't going to be invited. And now that agreement has been broken, and Zelensky is pushing for them to be part of NATO and have NATO bases in the country, Putin said, "Enough's enough. You're surrounding me anyway. Look at a NATO map, and you'll understand why he's nervous." So he said, "Like, enough's enough. I'm going to come into the country. This isn't going to happen." Now, Last Dance and I have discussed in the past, and I think even Trump's mentioning this now. There was no geographical advantage of having Ukraine with NATO bases, so just have it as a demilitarized zone. And now Trump's even talking
It's
about that.
surrounded anyway. It's still
And
surrounded, isn't
They
it?
did that after Crimea, and then Russia reneged on that promise that they wouldn't attack Ukraine. And did it anyway.
That's more history you've got to look into, Biscuit, because if you look at the Crimea and Donbass region, whether you believe it or not, there's plenty of opinions out there.
Took over Crimea as a whole island.
Yeah, it's an island, yeah, and the rest of the regions that are heavily Soviet based, although part of the motherland.
I'm talking about in 2014 when they took over Crimea. America,
yeah,
and
but prior to that, basically, that's what I'm saying. If you look into it, and you can see videos, not bullshitting, the Ukrainians were committing genocide to the people that lived in those regions because they didn't want them there, because they were heavily Russian supportive, and there are graves and graves and graves with just sticks crosses in fields where those people living in Ukraine that would deem themselves really still to be Russian were murdered. I'm talking about children and women, and the West doesn't want to report it. It's there to see. It's there to see.
It is reported.
Yeah, but when they cry for help and say to Russia, "Come and help us, we're getting annihilated here," then Putin went in and took Crimea and a bit of a...
Let me just throw this out. Okay, Biscuit, what do you think would happen if Ukraine joined NATO and we were in the current conflict we're in? What do you think the next thing would be?
Well,
hopefully,
I think Russia would back down, but I don't want to find out.
No. I'm just giving a scenario. So, Biscuit, remember now that if it's part of NATO and they carry out the conflict happens, then we're
it's
obliged
World
under
War
NATO.
That's right. Yeah, which would be a deterrent. Which would be a deterrent for Russia ever to attack that nation.
So you're willing to stick. You're willing to stick that gun. You're willing to stick that spin. You're willing to spin the barrel. You're willing to load the gun at 50-50, spin the barrel. Like when Lee said something really good, is that actually geographically you don't need Ukraine to be part of NATO because all the way around Ukraine is already part of NATO anyway. So it doesn't actually mean anything. The only thing we're doing at the moment is trying to save the country of Ukraine for World War III. No leader in his right mind will risk the world for Ukraine.
What about right when Ukraine is all Russian territory in 20-25 years? Then Russia will be on the border of all NATO countries, and we will be in the same predicament we would be then.
NATO since 1991 has encroached 10 countries east.
Okay.
Yeah, by their country's own choice.
I've listened,
but then
Biscuit, remember this. Remember this. I've heard Putin. I've seen him interviewed and saying that he wouldn't tread 1 inch into a NATO country because he knows that then the whole world is against him. He doesn't. All he wants is to make sure that America are out of Ukraine. He doesn't want them there, and he doesn't want them being part of NATO. He doesn't want American bases in the Ukraine, and I totally understand it. I'm not pro-Russian, but I can certainly understand where he's coming from. He would never touch a NATO country because he would lose within 10 minutes because the whole world would be against him.
We would all lose. Everyone would lose.
So real quick,
yeah, because you create a thermonuclear war.
Yeah,
we're going to transition to another subject now. But
Magic.
on the tariffs point, Toyota pickups are made in the United States to avoid a tariff.
that's correct. Yeah,
100%.
it's pickups. It's pickups.
Are
Isn't it?
not
It's pickups.
ECUs or
It's
anything
the
like that
magic
made in
word.
China?
Yeah, there's
What's
tariffs
that?
on pickups. Steve,
I was
it's
just
pickups, isn't it?
saying they're not parts like ECUs and things like that, not made in China.
Well, it's foreign-made pickups that are taxed tariff. So a lot of the Toyota decided, well, we'll avoid the tariff and assemble them in the United States.
We'll build in the US.
Assemble. So yeah, certainly a lot of parts of a Harley Davidson are made from different countries.
Toyota
But
a
they are
Chinese originated product or Japanese or?
It's a company from those countries, but because the trucks are put together here, they can avoid that tax, and
and when he said assemble, that's correct, because a lot of the parts are still made in the Far East, but then they're all shipped to the US and then assembled in factories in the US.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with Harley Davidson, which you think, oh yeah, America, baby, yeah, no,
America.
There's parts that are made outside of the country, but let's go with he's gone. But we're going to go with him.
2025.
Aphid was talking about a little 2025 project. 2025.
I want to hear what his question is about it.
What's your come on? What are you drinking down there? I think
he was just joking.
I'm drinking whiskey tonight. I'm celebrating.
Peanut
nice. You guys made fun of me for not drinking, so I finally drank.
Peanut butter.
Is it peanut or
Biscuit knows me well. Look at that.
Where's McGrande? Where's McGrande?
Oh, no. We're not doing that.
McGrande. Where's McGrande?
We're having a side one for that.
I haven't heard from the old boy in a while.
You know he's seething with a bottle of whiskey next to him.
No, he's not.
He's seething.
Upset. No, he's upset.
He's upset about Trump's. He's really got TDS at the moment.
Yeah, but you really think he's going to blow up? He's not. He only blows up when he's with you.
Rip Peanut, absolutely.
Yeah, he's been prescribed that drug, Trumpanol. It's good. It's good against TDS and stuff.
All right, Aphid, what's your run on 2025?
I mean, it's just what some people want Trump to do. I mean, I don't know what more you could say about it.
Can we get the points out? Can we Google the points?
Do you think he got voted in for Project 2025 though?
But what do you mean voted in?
Of course not.
He was already in.
Yes and no.
As candidates.
What do you mean vote? What do you mean voted in because of it?
Yeah.
Do you think the people voted for him for Project 2025?
No, pretty much exactly the same people that voted for him every time voted for him this time.
Well, he got more votes this time, right?
No,
I think a lot of the people that go to evangelical churches did vote for him. Yes,
he got less votes this time than he did when he lost.
But did he close also gaps in other areas?
Can you put the main points in 2025 on the screen, Steve? So we can.
Yeah, I think he did, and I think
give me a second, Welshie.
It's possible. Which this is a totally different subject, but it's possible that Latinos have a really hard time voting a woman into office.
You really do? No, I'm not going to laugh about that. That's a good topic.
No, I think it's absolutely true.
I mean,
you know what?
Not voting for Harris is one thing, but voting for Trump after
he was just a terrible candidate.
I have to make a correction. Aphid Lip has been putting out disinformation.
What? No, that's not. That's opinion.
Has got more votes this time than he did in 2020.
Oh, really? Is that true?
Yeah.
Well, he won the
what was how? But
it
close.
keeps going up because California hasn't counted.
How close? Well, at this time, how close is it?
He's got right now he's got about 300,000 more votes.
Oh, that's more than 16.
Yeah, it's.
He's got 74,500,000 votes now.
I mean, I think it will end. Let's say it's 2 million more. I doubt it's going to be that much more.
Yeah, no, it definitely will be about 2 million.
Here, I'm going to show
at this point right now.
Absolutely, California still has 4.5 million votes to count.
Oh, is that right?
Question.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, let's
Here we go.
Steve.
We're going to show 2020 first.
Huh?
Right there. Okay. 81,200,000 for Biden, 74,200,000 for Trump. Now we're going to
81 million? He got that much?
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
This is all the missing 16 million, isn't it? Where'd all that go? I mean, let's be honest.
What do you mean? Where did it go? Are you saying that there's something funny? I'm serious. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Do you think these numbers either then or now aren't true? Is that what you're saying, Based?
Well, if you look at the 2008 numbers and you look at the 2012 numbers and you look at the 2016 numbers,
but
they're all around. They're all around. They're all. Wait, can I just finish?
Yeah, I want to hear what you got to say.
Last time, but he didn't vote this time, so that's one of your.
Yeah. I know you said that. I know you said that, but you're missing the point that I'm saying all the way back from 2008. So, my point is, my point is there was a big leap for a candidate. Let's be honest about it, wasn't very popular when you think about previous candidates, and he hit 81 million last time, and it was 16 million that seemed to have disappeared this time.
People decided they didn't want to vote for any candidate.
Of course, that's all you've got, mate. That's all you.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying when the administration was a Republican Trump ran administration, somehow they figured out how to undermine their whole administration and rig an election, and then they had control of the administration and they weren't allowed to rig it? Is that what you're trying to tell us all here? I'm just curious.
Exactly what he's saying.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. No, they forgot. They forgot to do it this time.
Can you? Well, no, they had proper. Like people said, the poll watching this year was through the roof.
Oh my God, the poll watching is what it comes down to. 16 million.
You want to
make a difference. I mean, are you just holding on to this because you preached it was rigged, and now you want to save your ass?
Hold on. I hope take a survey. Poll watches.
Here's why that's not true. Here's why that's not true. No, here's why it's not true. Because there are so many votes by mail-in and by people who put their
come on, base.
Mail-in box.
Right. Okay.
Based. If we tallied up who had. Well, no. I just want to point something out.
I literally can't answer.
I know.
The question.
No, you can't. You can't. That's true. Because what the point I'm trying to make is, if we took the percentage of who's talked the most this whole night, you would have easily close to 50%. Last Dance was just trying to make a point, and then you're going to cry about him talking. I just can't stand when people.
No, it's you. It's you. It was you making the point, but you won't let me talk.
I'm just saying.
I can't respond.
Nobody will let you talk, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bates. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you give me a reason where the 16 million have gone?
Yeah, 16 million people just chose not to go to the polls and vote.
But
a lot of that. I mean,
full stop.
Yeah, they didn't go to the polls in 2008, and they didn't go to the polls in 2012 or 16 either. But they went in 2020 with Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Based. I'll tell you what, Based. You're going to see a trend come next election when it's fresh in their memory how much they hate Trump. And they're motivated, no matter who the candidate is, to get out and go vote for him. Well, now they've had 4 years. They've had 4 years to forget about him, and he was not nearly as ridiculous as he was in his original campaign. He was totally tame, and he knew that he had to do it to get reelected.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, but what's interesting?
What did I say that was untrue there, Based? Tell me.
Take two more of those. Take two more of those Trumpinol tablets. Sort your TDS out.
The thing is, though, what's interesting?
If I'm not mistaken, David voted for Trump.
No, I did not vote for Trump.
Did you not? Oh, okay.
Well, taking the results and looking at the results and saying the results of it have so much variation from year to year that must mean something happened is a completely flawed way of going about it. Okay. You have to find the flaws, find the inconsistencies that
but
caused
the
it.
thing
But
is,
you can't
yeah,
just look at the results and say why.
The previous three
Yeah,
elections were between 65 and 70 million. It was late 60s, right? It was
Hey,
between
go and
65
look
and
at
late
our own
60s. And
elections.
then for Creepy
Hey,
Joe, it was 81. Think
hey,
about it.
go and look at our own elections.
It
There is
raises
massive
flags, doesn't it?
disparity year
you
to
can't
year
just
because
you can't
people
just
don't
say
want to vote.
you can't just say think about it. That's my stuff. That's what I got to offer. Think about it. That's not nothing. You got nothing.
People look.
no, but I guess the point that
You've got no proof, Dave. So
no, you're absolutely right, Biscuit. But I guess the point that Based is making is if you take an average number of voters on a 4-yearly basis, that all of a sudden and then there's a huge spike and we're not talking about a few hundred. But yeah, let me finish.
It's
Let me
not
finish.
true. It's just
No, but
not
let me.
true. No,
But
I'm
let
not
me
going to let
finish.
you finish. No, I'm not letting you finish.
Please, because
There is
no,
not
that's
20
unfair.
million votes missing.
absolutely
There
not.
are not 16 million
I'm not
votes
saying
missing.
that. I'm not
When it's
saying
all
that. Let
said
me
and done,
finish.
it may be 4 or 5 million less than last
Yeah,
election.
but let me finish. Let me finish because I think you
Let
might
me
think I'm
finish
going
earlier
down.
than
I think you might think I'm going down a certain route which you're miscalculating. Which is when Biden won, it meant that more people got to the voting booths to make sure that Biden would win the election. So did Harris then?
A lot more people were easier to mail in a ballot.
Yeah, but did Harris lose then? Because people, this is my point with all those millions of people that are missing or whatever. Did they not come out and vote for Harris then? Is that the reason she lost?
Right.
That they should have been more active. But by the second, then when the pendulum swings the other way in terms of being a little bit supportive to Based, is this when you hear all the rhetoric that is going on throughout the whole of the media that you've got to get out and vote to stop this guy from getting in. It's so close. The polls are neck and neck, and yet you're telling me that there are millions of people who went, "Oh, I'm just not going to go and vote. It doesn't bother me." So it is a bit strange to a degree.
Polls aren't even kind of close to what election is, and polls were closer in the past. But now you got a person like Trump, which is so far off what polls have done for all these years.
Yeah, but Aphid, when you went, I don't know whether you're a Trump supporter or not, but when you look at your country,
oh, thank you,
I do.
When you look at your country. Now, when you look at your country and how it's voted, right, you may well have to accept you're in the minority because he won the election, he won the popular vote, he won the Senate, and looks like he's going to win the House or the other way around. So the majority is that they all want him to be president.
Wait.
Well, no. Hold on.
Massively.
I'm fully aware that such a large portion of the population is totally for Trump in one way, whether they're like he's God or whether they're like, well, he's better than the people in the other party, and that's who. So I'm fully aware of that. But to say that a majority of the public likes him more than they like the other party is not, I don't think is possible when you're only getting enough of the people that went and voted. You know, I just don't. Because you got to have.
I think that
well, hold on. If everybody was just able to the election night sit on their recliner and push a button on their remote one way or another,
Steve got in.
you would have a much closer representation of how the public actually feels. But you got an election where the Trump supporters and the people that voted for Trump because they didn't want, whatever the right or the left stands for. Those people were far more passionate and more supportive of their cause than the other side was and their cause. I mean, it's just statistically proven that way.
Well, it's also that Trump took votes away from the Democrats. People who voted for the Democrats in 2020 voted for the Trump.
Why?
That's true, but I don't think.
Why did he do that? Why did he do that last dance? Why did he do that? Why did he convince them? No, I want to know why Last Dance thinks that he was able to persuade them. What was it that he did?
Blackmails.
I don't know, but cup of tea will tell you. It's a whole bunch of reasons.
That's exactly
it is a whole bunch of reasons. There's tons of different reasons.
Yes.
They voted for him because he's a racist.
Latinos
and black men voted for him.
One of them is because people just are are not that familiar with the way, it's what have you done for me
They're
lately?
not buying the bullshit, Aphid. They're not buying the bullshit anymore. They're not buying it. They don't care.
Hold on. They're 4 years removed of a Trump administration.
Yes.
So they don't remember
and they had
exactly
better
how it
times.
was.
They had better times.
And I think that there's going to be a large portions of the ones that changed their votes that are probably going to look back and wish they didn't change their votes because of what they're going to experience. And
they're looking back. That's why they're voting him back in, because they're looking back.
A lot of people
the
last 4 years have not been nearly as invested in politics as they were when Trump was in office. And I think that's a stress that people are just going to start waking up to in January when he gets back in office. Because I think there's a lot of people.
No, no. Yes, he's right. But there's more younger people into politics now. That's a big deal.
True.
Well, and it's cool. It's cool to like be against your parents and be like, Trump's cool, because people don't like Trump,
That's my kid said.
This has nothing to do with Trump. It's who's controlling the
No, I think a lot of things have to do with Trump.
TDS comes through all the time.
Who's going on Joe Rogan? Who's doing this? And that is something I think is important.
Can you imagine it on Joe Rogan for 40 minutes? Just 40 minutes?
She should have. She should. That's why she sucks, dude. And you keep standing up for her.
No. Please understand. I don't think she was a bad candidate with the weight that she had on her shoulder. Hillary was 10 times worse than she ever was.
But
she had
in which way though? Because Hillary had much more knowledge.
I agree with
Hillary had a lot more knowledge, and she was more prepared for the role.
Hillary was Secretary of State, so she was an expert on foreign policy. An absolute expert. She did the healthcare thing under Clinton, which didn't work, but she was an expert on healthcare. She was an expert on the most important issues that face America.
She was annoying as fuck, though, dude.
What? They're
Hillary.
all born. Well, the only entertaining comedian.
Annoying, like her shrill voice.
Oh, come on, Trump. Who's more annoying?
I find Kamala's voice quite annoying. Let's be honest.
Who's playing that?
Would you be willing that if let's say it's like it works out brilliantly and he solves the war in Ukraine, he solves the war in the Middle East, and your country starts to prosper like ever before, the golden age as they call it, it's going to be the new golden age. Are you willing to put your hands up and go, actually, he's done a really good job? Would you be prepared to admit that, okay, I had my doubts about him, but God, we're doing really well?
Silence. Total silence.
I don't know, honestly.
Nothing objective to say.
I totally missed the question. I
totally missed the question. I'm sorry. I really did.
Well,
I don't think
would you be prepared to... I said, would you be prepared to put your hand up that if in 4 years' time he solved the Ukraine war, created peace in the Middle East, and your country's prosperous, would you put your hands up and go, okay, I was wrong about him. No, he's done a really good job.
As long as you're not having to be in church to lift your hand up. That's the thing people are worried about, I think.
I definitely wouldn't. You know why? Because I'll be waiting for the next 5-6 years later when Russia starts attacking Ukraine again, unprovoked.
Well, and my problem with Trump is I think that I do not like the way that he is so apart from what we are used to and what's been successful for us in the past. And I think that he leads the way. So no matter what good he would do in the short term, I think there would be more harm in the long term with giving more power to people like Trump to hold office and excel in the government.
Can you give me some examples of what you think is going to be worse off, Aphid?
Yeah.
Just further away from the norm is worse off in my opinion.
The norm worked though.
Democracy.
I mean, if the new norm is more successful than the old norm, then I will admit that I was wrong.
Well, let's ask Last Chance, because he's the old. He's the elder. He has more knowledge than we do.
Yeah, he's the never Trumper as well. He's a never Trumper.
No, he's well. It's okay, but
it's fine to be that. That's why
as the political parties have changed their games all through the decades. That's nothing new, though.
Hey, this is interesting, right? All from my American cousins over there, directly, directly to you guys, right? Let's start from the year 1960, okay?
I remember.
And this question goes to you each individually. Name the person and tell me why. Who for you has been the best president since, say, 1960?
Well, let's go from the top down with age.
No, you don't have to name them all. Just who for you personally has been. It doesn't have to be 90. I'm just saying from there up to the present day.
Smokesteve was saying top down from age in the panel, not from the president.
Yeah. Just like who do you think has been the best president that's ever served the United States in modern history?
Obama,
individually.
So first term.
Really?
Obama.
No, I got two.
Go on then, Aphid. Come on.
Reagan. That's who I would
Ronald.
say.
Okay.
I would say
why
it's
though,
close.
Last Dance? Why Last Dance? Why do you say that? It's just interesting.
He completely changed the trajectory of politics in the United States.
Like Trump.
Well, we'll see about Trump. I don't think Trumpism will survive Trump.
I hope
no.
But
it doesn't seem like it will. It seems like he's an anomaly.
They're similar in the sense that they're not
I
politicians.
can
They're not politicians.
I can see a positive for Trump in the space exploration sector.
Aphid, who do you think then? You said you got two of them.
Yes, I do. And one of them is Ronald Reagan, but the other one's Clinton. And both of them is it's a total. It's a total. Hold on, listen to me.
He's the first one to call Trump a racist. He's the first one to call Trump a racist, though, isn't he? Look at it.
Let Aphid answer. Go on.
It
was a different time.
It was a total statistical, mathematical thing with me, and it is the condition of the GDP, the stock market, and the unemployment rate while the second they took office, and the difference that they made to when they left office.
Right, got you.
And both of those two are far and above. I think the next closest person, because I studied this and did a live leak video over it. And I think the next closest person, if I'm not mistaken, was John F. Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Percentage wise, the difference.
For creating jobs in their term, is that what you're saying?
Actually, and Reagan was the only one that averaged out above the norm. Jimmy Carter was dead center, and the rest, go in line like that. Yeah. And you can the way I want to one more last thing about it. The way I think of this is flawed because the sacrifices that the person made before them could have put them in a more beneficial spot to excel when they took office. But if you want to put it down mathematically, it's the best way that I found that you could do it.
Right. Okay. RW, it was the best for you. I'm going to see if there's a common denominator here. You see. So RW.
What is the question?
Who do you think in modern day history has been the best president whilst you've been alive, and why?
I'm just gonna say Ford to be an ass and move on because I don't know.
Okay, Smokesteve.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it the whole time here, and fiscally, I thought Clinton had some good results and good numbers, and I would like to say Reagan, but I was too dumb and young to really comprehend what was happening.
Right.
So I can't legitimately go to the 80s really because I was, just not fucking focused on it. And going back in hindsight is almost cheating. So you have to really do what this is a question pertaining to presidents that you've lived and been conscious of what's happening. And for me, I guess I'd go Clinton, which is disturbing because that was a long fucking time ago. Yeah. That means I'm pretty disillusioned with everybody since him. And I wasn't exactly ecstatic with him, but it's more or less like, not bad. Yeah.
Topple, who was it for you?
I said Obama first term.
Obama first term.
Really?
So the common denominator seems to be then probably Clinton first place, Reagan second. By the looks
I
of
guess
things.
I'll change my vote to Trump
Oh,
But but listen, that's the time in my life when I was actually starting to earn wealth. That's the time in my life when I reached the age when I was starting to earn wealth. So I look back on it, and I definitely see that I was doing much better at that point in time. And people can say COVID and policies and this and that, but I just remember under his term, things seemed to make sense in my life.
We all were doing better back then. We were all doing better.
It's funny because from a UK point of view, and Base and Biscuit can recite their own memories, but Clinton was always I felt was a good president, and Reagan, although I was quite young, there was just a good feel about that guy. It was just he seemed to be.
He wasn't a politician.
Yeah, to a degree, and also don't forget his relationship with Margaret Thatcher was renowned for being. It's when I felt that we really did have a special relationship. That word is used a lot now, and I don't think it's necessarily completely true. But you felt that with Reagan and Thatcher, that there really was a special relationship. I think they got on really well and were on the same page.
Okay.
Based, I'm surprised you don't like Zelensky over Putin. If with your whole outsider opinion, of politics.
I don't like Putin as a person, but I do admire him as a leader. I think you've got to at this stage. The difference is, I believe they're both the murdering bastards. They're both cunts, but Putin is a very good leader. I like what I like about Reagan is when he made the statement.
He's a great leader, just sending all his men to death.
When he made the statement, the government is not the solution, it is our problem. And I do quite like that quote from Reagan.
Yeah. Pardon me.
They are the problem. If they come knocking on your door, watch out.
I have a bit of a side question for Aphid or anyone else that knows webcam technology. I'm looking into kind of changing the webcam to a USB-C webcam that I can point at the table instead of just the one that comes out of the laptop, so I can start working on coloring projects or something for video sessions. Does anyone have a technology like Logitech or whatever that they feel is a good price, value, and quality of camera?
Logitech's always done me good, but the best, when I purchase anything, I would just start searching videos, best 10 webcams for the purpose that you're looking for it for, and wait for somebody that is that's their life, is that they look at all that shit all day long and go by what they say.
Or you could try Elgato.
Never heard that one. Oh wait, the cat. What is it? A website or is it a webcam company?
No, it's a webcam manufacturer like Logitech.
Okay.
It's the Elgato Wave, I think it's called.
It sounds like a drug kingpin.
It might be. I might get a little bit of cocaine in each camera.
Can we involve the chat here? The chat here, a cup of tea.
Talking about Reagan.
Can we involve the chat? Can we involve the chat? They are here. We don't involve them often.
Monica Lewinsky.
So I like the comments from Cup of Tea. It says he had a special relationship with Monica Lewinsky, and RW put in.
Who cares?
Exactly. So what?
Who cares?
Good for him.
I'm having a joke, and RW put down. Don't judge a dress by its fabric, T. Yeah.
Well, I really want to ask this question because I'm not really aware. I hear this from the right a lot, that Clinton was great his 4 years there, but after he left, the policies he put in place.
You say great when he was there?
Or 8 years, yeah, 8 years. Sorry.
Great. Do you say he was great or great?
No. Stop. The 8 years that he was there was great, other than the cigar thing, but after he left, his policies had a huge impact on the economy. Is that true, or is that just bullshit? Right side talking points.
What I mean,
with Halson, something with Halson.
Yeah, the
with,
housing
mortgages or something.
Yeah, you think Republicans weren't?
Oh, I know.
100% for the rah-rah, deregulating the.
I don't know. I don't know.
Industry. Absolutely, they were. They were probably pushing it harder than anybody.
So what was the deal with that? He let people with lower interest, or I don't get it.
Let them have mortgages when they can't afford the mortgages. Is that what you're talking
Is that
about?
what it was?
Basically,
yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
but
100%,
both sides were
100% mortgages,
Obama.
wasn't it?
What's
No,
that?
Obama.
I thought that was during Obama's presidency.
no,
it was not.
Obama did a pretty good job of turning it around. It's hard to deny him that.
Well,
He did a good job of everything.
I mean, they bailed out. They bailed out the bad guys.
I mean, when when a line is going almost straight down, and he took over, and some of his policies and some of the stuff that came about when he was in office turned that trajectory and won it almost in the same direction in the other direction.
I'm not going to argue about whether what he did was better or not. I just think a lot of what his administration did left a bad taste in many people's mouths, including mine. That's where the too big to fail came out, where these companies committed financial crimes of a magnitude never before seen.
Right.
And their punishment was to be handed billions and billions of dollars of cash to remain liquid. So I don't know.
In the UK, same in the UK.
Last Dance. It's amazing you should mention that, because when you read about past politics, and most things start in America and then spread throughout the world, because you're such an amazing nation. But and I'm not being sarcastic. America is an amazing nation. No, I'm not. It's
let's all give a back pat.
When you weigh it all up, you know what I mean? America is. I'd rather be on America's side than anybody else's. That's for sure. But
that's right.
But it's true. But the thing is,
only with Republicans in power at the moment.
When you read documents about and articles about politics and how it transforms throughout time, the one thing that they say about Clinton's administration, that this was the first time that the big corporates moved in and took over governments. So governments were working on behalf of corporations to make sure everything was good for them, taxes, this, that, and the other. And that's when politics finally became sold out. Rather than working for the people, politicians started working for corporations.
You think that happened in 2004?
In Clinton's period, which would have been in the 90s.
1996.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It might have been going on before Last Dance, but that's when it was sort of the crest of the wave came. And that's when then obviously things aren't being done for the people properly. It's whether it benefits the companies and they can make more money. So I'm not saying it didn't happen before, not by any means, but certainly there was an acceleration and a crest of wave which gave him the revenue to run campaigns and everything else. It's like it's finally the politicians sold out. And we've done the same here as well. And sometimes politicians get caught out. They'll be in Parliament arguing about something because basically they don't want the taxes going up for that matter, whatever that company is producing, which or to help them out because it might not be the best product in the world for us to consume, this, that, and the other. And then they get caught out, and then you find out they're getting backhanders of 200 grand to go to Parliament and argue the case to stop it from going through and being made law. So the whole of politics, as we all know, is just now corrupt. Nobody actually works for the common man. It's all about lining their pockets.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yep. Yep.
Last Dance. It's comments like that you're going to be ashamed of yourself tomorrow for.
Okay. Probably.
All right, well, go ahead, make your counterpoint, Last Dance.
That was it. I'm done. I made
it.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, all right.
Well, it's just and as for President Reagan, I wanted to say earlier on, this is a very I'm recalling this from being probably 16 or something, I don't know. An English politician, a journalist interviewing him when he was running for president, and turned around and said, "Do you really think you've got the experience to be a president? You've been an actor, this, that, and the other." He goes, and you're the was he the guy for California? What do you call it?
Yes. He was the governor.
Yeah, governor of California. And he said, and he turned around because he was so sharp and witty. and he turned around to the English journalist and said, well, let's not forget that the California's got a population of around about 40 million. He said, it's not far off maybe the 60 million that you've got in the United Kingdom back in the day. He said, so I think I'm quite capable of being able to run the United States because I could run your country. I just thought I thought it was a funny answer. Yeah. I just thought very witty. And
don't forget, he gave a speech months after he was shot in an attempted assassination attempt. At said speech, a balloon popped, and without missing a beat, he said, "You missed." And the audience just busted out laughing. And the guy had comedic timing. Very, very sharp.
He did. I remember watching the news that day when he got shot. I forget how old I was, and I remember I was really disturbed by it because I liked him, and I thought, oh my God, somebody's tried to kill the American, and probably how people felt when Kennedy got shot. But I was really concerned for him, even though I was a kid, thinking, I hope he pulls through. How dare somebody try and shoot and also at that age, I was also frightened that if he died, what was going to be the state of the world? Because we're going to be now insecure, because it's like brought up America's everything, as a kid, it's the country you look to or whatever. And I remember it really disturbed me seeing those pictures because he's getting in the car, isn't he? And he puts his arm up to wave or something. And didn't they shoot him under the armpit, or the bullet went into the armpit?
Good night, Biscuit Babe.
See you, Biscuit. Thanks for hanging out, buddy.
Take it easy,
Take care.
Biscuit. Great talking
You
to
look
Biscuit.
amazing. You look amazing.
You guys. What?
You look
Did the
amazing.
bullet go under his armpit or something?
Yeah,
you're a little heavy though. I'd say your eyebrows are a little heavy.
They're not coming off anymore. I'm keeping them nice and
all right.
Good night, everyone.
It was good seeing you, Biscuit. Have a great night,
buddy.
You too, guys. Good night.
Don't
See you, bud.
Hey,
See you, bud.
Biscuit, don't be a stranger now. You hear? Come back. Anyone know what show that comes from?
Some kind of old place.
Not Percy and Hut, right?
Is it Cheers?
No, was it?
No.
What was it? I can't think of the name of that show.
I think it's the Beverly Hillbillies, man.
I was about to say that.
No, it's the George Burns show.
Is it?
George Burns.
He said good night, Gracie.
No, that's not what he said. He said, "Y'all come back now." You hear?
Oh,
I thought it was. I thought that was.
That's the Beverly Hillbillies, right?
Beverly Hillbillies. Yeah, man. Thank you.
And up from the ground came a bubbling brew.
Are you there,
World,
Base?
that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see? You'll just have to listen into this, guys. But Base, did you see on the news this a couple of days ago? And it's still making news to this day. That there was a football team from Israel that was playing in Holland, and they all the supporters, they got absolutely battered, and the Dutch Prime Minister's on the news saying this is, disgusting. We can't. I mean, I'm going back a good 10 years ago. I went to Amsterdam, and I was amazed by the Asian population in the city centre. It's like phenomenal. But one thing I found about the news, they're saying, people in Holland have attacked these, but what they're not showing, the only channel that has, which has been GB News, is that they were all. It's like Dutch people are getting the blame, but it was all Asians that were doing it.
No. But you got to remember, Lee, all the cuisine. Think about the cuisine. Think about all the different diverse cuisines we get.
Well, it was it was more complicated.
I don't know what to say, but it's true. It's fucking disgusting.
Honestly, the Israelis, they were kind of football hooligans. They went out and they attacked, and they tore down Palestinian flags, and they did their own attacking. And then they got attacked, and they got worse than they gave. Okay. But they started.
Can you imagine being Israeli? Can you? Because I was football casual, so I've been involved in this sort of problems, and I can tell you now, if I was Israeli and I went to a different country, which was only a few hundred that travelled, from all accounts, because I think they understood the pressure, and then I'll go to a European country like Amsterdam. I don't know the manner. We haven't got a fucking huge firm with us. we're odds on going to be Spragney. You know, it looked like from what I seen that they were just picking people off. I didn't see any Israeli with any group of people at all. They were all on their own getting picked off. And that's the last thing. If I put myself in that scenario, which I tell you what is pretty brave under those conditions, I would not be separated from the boys. We would be back to fucking back. I'm tell you that as a football casual. None of these people, all on their own. Every single one was caught on their own. They're not football hooligans.
You kick Lee? I don't blame you. He was getting a little lippy.
Yeah.
By the way, lads, do you know a YouTube channel called
No one was
Tyler?
listening. He just gave up.
Do you know what one called Tyler Oliveira?
Your battery ran out.
He's got 7 million subs. Well, he was in London 2 weeks ago for the Tommy Rally, and he just did a huge video. It's had like 3/4 million views in a day, and I'm in it. He did an interview with me. Only a little one. Yeah.
All right, we're going to feature that bit. We're going to feature that short clip coming up momentarily. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's in the back. It is.
He's going to piss.
Yeah.
He's done a really good job, to be honest with you. It's a good watch.
Last Dance, I'm surprised your bladder isn't being pressed by your, what do they call it?
Prostate?
Yeah, your prostate.
I got that fixed a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's why you don't get up every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I got a terp. Look it up.
Nice job. Good job.
You know what a terp is?
No, but
okay.
I'm fascinated.
Oh, that's a terp.
It's an acronym for transurethral resection of the prostate. They put
that sounds jolly.
They put a nasty thing up your pee hole.
Oh.
they put like a whole laboratory.
I'm paying attention. What's going on?
And then into your prostate, and they start cutting. And they suck it out through your pee hole.
Oh, is this right? That's
like
you had this. You had this procedure done?
Absolutely. Of course, I was unconscious.
Wow. Oh, that's
real
my
men
next
stay
question.
awake, Dance.
They suck it out your pee hole.
It was amazing. All my problems were solved.
All right, let's talk about Peanut the squirrel.
I was in the pharmaceutical industry before I went on my own, and I did cataract surgery equipment, and that really sounds almost identical to the equipment used to remove cataract lenses out of your eyeballs. It goes up through there and got a little bit that chomps away, and I'm guessing that's probably similar to the machine that they shoved up your penis.
Yep.
Sounds very sound.
It's a miracle.
Oh, Smokesteve missed all the.
I'm glad your pee hole's doing good, Dan.
He could replay it later when he
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it really because
you can edit that part out.
Make you shake a bit.
Not getting that time back.
What did I miss?
Nothing. We're not doing this again.
While you had urine coming out of your penis, Last Dance was explaining how they sucked the bad part of his body out of his penis.
I just got some Triscuits. I don't know what's happening.
Just get that video.
You missed the description that men don't want to hear.
Hey, look who it is. Yellow sub. Welcome. New guy or girl.
New guy. Or girl.
Thanks for being here.
Why are we so sexist, Steve? Damn.
Was that a freaking Beatles fan?
Yeah, I was gonna say Last Dance. Last Dance is instantly looking up their channel to subscribe to it.
Yeah. Lived a man who sailed the sea.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I like Last Dance anymore.
You'll be all right.
I went through a terrible thing, and you're blaming me.
You're the victim.
I'm the victim, right?
God damn it.
So I know we stopped talking about this subject, but I'd like to circle back to it a little bit. But the emotional distress that some are going through with the recent Tuesday night elections is fascinating to me.
It's not funny.
It's not funny, but it's fast. Out of every everything that happens in the world, to me, the sociological aspect of it is always the most fascinating. So with this event happening, I'm fascinated by watching the reactions of some, not just some, most, I would say, because some it's bragging and the badoshes, and then just how they're, just want to throw it in everybody's face, the ones that are super extreme, to the ones that are changing
How's Drone Tech doing these days?
They're changing their background picture to just all black, to protest, the recent events.
Well,
and I wonder, like, when like, does one start like putting, the picture, the cute picture they took, the selfie they took, when it goes back, like, I guess I imagine Last Dance would probably be the only one I could get the true advice on this topic, because he jumped on the Ukraine flag, pride, bandwagon, and when do you when is it okay to like delete that?
I don't know. I just go by feel. I could not tell you. I could not give you a formula.
I've never been in some kind of, well, I shouldn't say that.
McGrande, shut up, McGrande, get your ass
McGrande
on here.
here.
Get your ass on here.
I'm sure he's got some. He's got some opinions.
We'll kick base off for a little bit. Get your ass on here. No offense.
I'm confused. Though. Last Dance was wearing the Ukrainian flag to be part of the herd.
It was on my Twitter account.
He was supporting the current thing.
Were you doing it to troll, or were you like legitimately backing Ukraine?
No, I was doing it to show support for Ukraine.
Oh, and now you're just like, fuck those guys.
He also was Je suis Paris back then. You remember that?
No.
He had a Vax one as well. A Vax thumbnail. He was like,
no, I never did that.
I've had my jab.
The only flag I ever did was Ukraine.
What about the coconut palm tree?
Sorry, Last.
What's that?
If you wear the coconut palm tree, you're with Harris, because apparently.
No, I certainly don't.
Do you have a blue heart or something?
So
no.
So what's this? Women are shaving their heads because of this too? Is that a real thing, or is that?
That's what we're doing.
I haven't. Is that right? I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, they've shaved their heads, and
they're shaving their heads so they can get attention on social media.
But what's the reason for the hair to be shaved?
It's working.
Because one person said, I don't know, what was it, Sinead O'Connor? I don't know. What is the reason?
Oh,
they probably get more attention if they shave their armpits, Dance.
Whoa. Yeah, she's dead. Who cares? She is still a beautiful singer.
Oh, well,
she's dead. So we can make fun of her.
She had a good voice.
Okay.
Well, her.
Well, I think any topic is comedy worthy. I'm never gonna put somebody down for
never too soon.
Her most famous song was written by who?
Okay, who cares? Who cares? He's dead too.
Sonny and Cher, is it?
No, it was written by Prince.
Yeah, Prince.
Yeah, he didn't want to do it, right?
It was a guess.
And then my favorite rendition from Chris Cornell is dead too. So no one wins.
Oh, yeah, that guy's voice wears on me.
Stop. No.
Yeah,
we're not doing this.
His voice,
such a beautiful voice.
I'm not saying I wasn't a fan, and I was also a fan of Smashing Pumpkins, but same situation. I can't deal with that guy's voice.
Well, I was about to say you're bitching about his voice, but not his.
Whiny hiney.
No, the same situation for me, for both of them.
You don't like Billy Corgan's voice, huh?
Not anymore. I did.
The vampire.
I thought Gish was as close to Dark Side of the Moon as far as like feeling and like getting into like turning the lights off, putting a nice set of headphones on, and
same here.
Did that with Creed.
You agree with me, Smokesteve? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Gish was my top 5.
Yeah, totally,
all time, for sure.
Wow.
And
there was something about it. There's something about it. Just like, I don't know. There was just like, it was an experience to listen to the album start to.
It was a wall of sound with those two fat distorted guitars, and you have those blasting in your headphones and be walking.
Yeah.
Like I listened to it walking home from high school from the bus.
Right.
It just like was this wall of distortion and sound and feedback. I just thought it was so brilliant.
It was it was in my experimental stages, so you can imagine how I experienced it.
What do you mean, gay?
Yes, a little distorted.
No.
Very vibrantly.
No, my words have been used against me, so I'm gonna try to refrain from going any further than what I did.
Did you play those albums late at night on the boats playing pool?
No, I did have several songs that I would, because most pool halls have a jukebox, and there was I'm not gonna admit to them because one of them. No, I'll admit to one. One of them was
Beastie Boys.
that. No, it wasn't none because they didn't have anything like that on the jukeboxes at the pool halls. It was that.
You say.
What was the blonde straight haired guy? He was in the Traveling Wilburys. Why can't I think of his name?
Petty.
Tom Petty.
The Wailers.
No, it was a song like early '90s that he sang. I can't remember the.
Oh, Mary Jane. Mary Jane.
It was Mary. I think it was Mary Jane.
That wasn't early '90s. Early '90s was more like Free Fallin'.
Was that?
No, it wasn't Free Fallin'. It was
Was
later.
Free Fallin' in the '90s?
It had to be before.
Fallin'.
It had to be between '91 and '94, I would say. In that.
How did it go?
Huh?
How does it go?
It's Mary Jane.
Sing it, Aphid.
I think it's last. Yeah, I think it is. I would have to hear it.
Mary Jane. One more.
But I would get so when I play pool, and this is not interesting, probably anybody but myself.
Oh, I'm listening.
I love pool.
When you're gambling with a lot of money and stuff, there's a lot of emotional stuff going. No,
94.
We're talking about AFED here. $5
going on like a lot of money.
75 cents on the table.
And I'd have like this is I do miss like having I'd have people people like surrounding me, and I'd be like in the center of a crowd, and there's
blowing on your cue stick.
There's people betting on me one way or the other, and it was there was just a thing you had to get in a mind space or you would lose,
Wow.
Yeah, actually, the name of that song is Mary Jane's Last Dance.
Last Dance, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's
I did not get my name from that.
Last Dance.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Jane.
So it's like the last joint you smoke before you get on the little private jet to fly to your next show, or like what does it mean?
I don't know. I just remember the video.
Life is a Highway. That's another one that I remember. I know the original, the original one. Not that it's any better because it's so far.
That's
removed.
Tom Cochran.
It's just the soundtrack of that time.
Life is a
part of your
highway, right?
Well, and
I need to rip one of the jukeboxes.
Yeah,
off
Life is a Highway. Yeah.
Aphid's background.
By Tommy Cochran.
Again.
And that's the time that and Smokesteve. I hate to admit this because I know he's such a big fan, but that was the same time I could not stand Steely Dan. Steely Dan was like the kryptonite of me.
Was Steely Dan was the 90s?
No. I'm talking about jukebox.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and that song, by Tommy Cochran, Life is a Highway. That's the same singer of the song Lunatic Fringe from like 10 years earlier.
I'm familiar with that.
Oh, really? I don't know what that is.
You don't remember that one?
Well, I mean, maybe, but I'm horrible with titles of songs. Like, I don't know any of them. Even my favorite. Oh, Smokesteve's Why? Oh.
Everybody has their own opinions. I happen to
that cuts
think
deep.
That Steely Dan is genius.
I mean, it doesn't bother me, but if people don't understand what a good musician is, then don't like Steely Dan. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, they're
the bedroom door tonight.
Extremely talented musicians.
Here's Johnny.
Utmost quality. So
I think they are innovators. I think they're
innovators.
Amazing
innovators.
I never got into them. I remember they were like a jazzy rock.
I don't hear it as that, honestly. I just hear it as music. I don't hear it as anything other than incredible music.
Was Chicago considered good for somebody that's into music? Because I like them.
They
Terry
were good.
Cass, yeah, hell yeah,
like,
man.
With the horns going and everything. I
Yeah,
really
that was
enjoyed
unusual.
But
for a
like the
group.
whole album of Chicago, or like it was hit and miss. They had good songs and terrible songs, or was the
Well,
whole
I only
album
know
experience
I
good?
only know the popular songs, but they had a lot of popular songs. And
What about Journey? Don't
they're-
stop believing.
No.
God,
Looks like it's time for another trivia music night.
I'll kick all your asses like I did before.
Yes.
I wouldn't even compete with
No,
Sarita.
Who's your buddy from California?
That's Bandy.
Bandy.
Bandy was kicking Sarita's ass. She's
Well, only
she's
because
MIA till the end of the month. So
she was only kicking his ass because she couldn't click in. I think she could hold up her own with Bandy.
No, I think
they were both miles ahead of me.
Her partner was screwing it up that night, I think.
Probably. Bastard.
Yeah, that was the Chicago song.
Hey, Aphid, I'm curious if you'd have one of those old jukeboxes in your background set up, like from the boats back in the day. Would that fit your vibe, or would that not fit the vibe?
From the boats? What do you mean from the boats?
The jukeboxes from your nostalgic era of playing pool. Is that something that?
Oh, I didn't play on a boat. I didn't play on a boat. Those rock too much. The balls would move.
Oh, I thought you had to go out. Oh, that was poker? Was that cards or something?
No, playing pool, 9-ball.
He gambled illegally all the time.
Yeah, it was totally illegal.
Right.
But I thought it was all on the boats. Like they had to go out.
No.
Like,
no, the boats actually. Yeah, exactly. The boats actually just totally ruined the
took all the money.
Yeah, there was no more. Yeah, because a lot of the money in like I said, this is only interesting to me, but a lot of the money that was in betting on pool was from people. They were called backers. Like I would have a guy and he would put up all the money, and if I won, I would get half of the money, and if he won, he'd get half. And when so that was a lot of the, once you get up to the, $50 a game or 500 or more for a set, it would be called, like if you would play the first person to win so many games, those little dots that go around the pool table, you move your coin one way or the other. If you win, you go this way. If he wins, he goes that way, so on and so forth.
Left, right.
Yeah, and there's 9 balls, an easily handicapped game. You can handicap it in a million different ways. And there was a lot of guys that would wouldn't play pool. They would just have the money to back you, and you would play somebody else. And sometimes they would have their own money, or they would have a backer themselves. And once the gambling boats came around, there was some poker. It was I feel like it had a tropical name to it or something. I don't know what it was, but it was some type of poker that they figured their angle out, and their percentage winnings was better than it was, with winning 50% of whatever I won or whoever else won with gambling on pool. Their percentages were far better on the gambling boats. So when those gambling boats came around, all those guys left. So it was just guys playing pool, and it was the quick decline of betting and hanging out real late at a pool hall. Maybe it still happens. I doubt it happens at the level it did back in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, in Boston, at those pool halls, like there was a huge contingency of, I don't know how to say it, but they seem to be either Chinese or Japanese.
What? Really?
Yeah. And they would
There was
run
a lot of Mexicans, but I mean, maybe it's a area thing. Here it was, well, not here. I would say across the nation, what I noticed, it was a lot of South Americans.
Yes.
Well, what's that?
Efren Reyes, he was like,
yeah, he was incredible. What's that woman's name? The Scorpion or the Spider or some shit?
I played her once. Yeah, I can't think of her name.
She is a good player, but Efren Reyes is the absolute goat. Man.
He was.
So, like, even in they would do like trick shots, best shot, whatever. He could do it all. It didn't matter.
There was a lot of people and I traveled around the country too, but mostly in the Midwest because I was not nearly in the level that even one of my best friends was. Efren Reyes would come to town. Now, if you said it, it's not Sonia. I don't think it's Sonia. If you said it,
okay,
I'll Google it. But I know who you're talking about. But yeah, like there was, there'd be, because I worked at two different pool halls, and the last one I worked at, we had to stay open until the last. We were the last ones in town. Like you knew you could come to our pool hall and play, and we weren't going to close until your game was over. So there was times when I had to, because the owner of the pool hall that I played at, he was a gambler himself, so he was friends with the local gamblers. So I had to stay there, and sometimes until lunchtime the next day when we were supposed to open, and the guy that was scheduled to come in and work would come in and work. I would just have to be forced to stay there until the last game was over with. So yeah, it was it's such a cool. Well, huh?
What do you rent a table at a place like that?
Yeah, that's what it was. We had a POS system, and you would click a button and it would start the clock on that table, and there would be so much an hour for that table. And
like
whenever
$20, $30?
No, this is back in the early 90s. It was probably like $4 or $5 an hour.
Wow.
But there was
full bar?
Huh?
Full bar?
Nope.
No alcohol.
No, well, there was these frozen pizzas. They were like small frozen pizzas. There was some candy bars, cigarettes. There was packs of cigarettes, and that's about it. It.
Very crazy, yo.
I had a little toaster oven thing it was made just for the pizzas. It probably came from the pizza company, and you'd put the little personal pan pizza in there, push a button, and it'd shut off when the time was up, and you hand it to the person. And I ate a shit ton of those pizzas too. Shit ton of them.
Yeah, I saw that. I wondered if you were going to put it up or would I.
Trump is a putz prez or not?
He is. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, I guess this question is more of what is his presidency going to be? I don't know. I always hold out faith. Old Smokesteve's, I'm Mr. Positive. If Kamala had won, I would have been the same way and said, let's be positive. Let's endorse her.
Your house would be a different way right now, though.
It's possible, and I say just possible, that Cup of Tea was trolling McG.
I missed the troll.
McG, did you vote for Trump? Cup of Tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're accurate on that.
I mean, you're really going out on a limb, Last Dance.
Wait, I just woke up. Did McGrande vote Trump?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think we all know McGrande definitely voted for Trump.
Yeah, he's trolling, but it's all good. What do you mean by that question, RW?
Are you kidding?
So your wife said, we're talking about Project 2025 again, and the blurb from the 2025 is that they want to improve education by moving control and funding of education from DC bureaucrats directly to parents and state and local governments. And I said, so the funding aspect doesn't look like it would be the issue. She replied, it's not all about the funding. It's making sure kids get the education they deserve. And my question is, are they getting what they deserve currently? Like, that's an opinion based, like, what does that mean? That's what I'm trying to find out. Because I don't people that are seeing that school is ideological propaganda. So is that what they deserve? What are they getting?
No, I think she's more leaning from the side of school systems that have less or students that get less in education, like special needs kids or lower income kids, do benefit from that extra. It's around 8% of funding that comes from the Department of Education to schools. Usually, you take that away. If it's going to negatively affect kids, then I don't think that's something you should do.
Do you know for a fact that it's going to become a negative impact and they're not going to have the money they need? Is it possible that there's a workaround that's going to happen at the state level that will solve the problem?
Well, I can tell you the 8% or so. The 8% or so is going to be gone from the federal side of the funding if the department is gone.
Not necessarily. I mean, there was before the Department of Education was created by Jimmy Carter. Before the Department of Education, there was federal education funding. So, it's just not the case.
That's entirely possible. I guess I'm just not gung ho about changing anything like that could potentially harm underserved.
And the other thing is there is absolutely no evidence that more school funding, especially for low-income kids, results in better results by any measurement. In fact,
throwing money at
it's
it.
going the other way.
Can we agree that government wastes money terribly?
Yeah, that's
I
not
can
the
agree
issue,
with
though.
that.
I mean, in all aspects of government, the waste is through the roof.
Elon Musk is going to fix that, buddy.
Oh God, no!
What are the parents going to control? What are the parents going to control? What are they?
I'm curious what that means. Does that mean that board meetings are going to have a greater impact because the federal government can't dictate from the top, and they're going to be able to democratically decide for local schools once that federal agency is disbanded? What was the question?
I don't. I have my own personal experience in education, and a lot of the rhetoric was total bullshit from funding. There's really more funding is not the issue in low-income schools. The issue is not lack of funding, not at all.
What is the issue? Competent teaching?
You don't need more money to teach the mathematics that was taught in 1910.
Maybe
that hasn't changed.
Well, maybe you do, though, to pay the teachers and the para-educators a livable wage.
They get paid a livable wage. I mean, what are you talking
about? A lot of schools are on strike right now, at least here.
That's because of that. Unions.
Yeah, union.
There's nothing special about teaching. It's a market for teachers, just like any other system. Teachers can work all kinds of places,
In the UK, they have 16 weeks paid leave. There's 16 weeks paid leave. What's it like in America? I mean, this is the only profession I know that gets 16-week paid leave.
There's no single every municipality, every school district does their own.
I'm not sure if he was talking about me or not, Steve. I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I'm featuring the comment.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody knows what McGrandy's talking about.
I think
unless he comes in here,
explain to us what that means.
Yeah, man, come on, dude.
That might help.
Put me in my place.
Oh, damn!
I mean,
shame. You're gonna feel shame tomorrow, Last Dance.
Why should it be any different?
He's gonna have his blue check mark on Twitter in a couple days, so I don't think he's gonna know what shame is for a while.
They're reviewing my.
Wait, whoa! You bought Twitter?
Yeah, you did.
Paid for it.
Why?
Because I like what Musk has done so far.
Okay.
Man,
okay.
He's putting people in their place across the world every day, right from that seat. So
no, that's not what I like.
That's
I like
not
that
true.
He's not censoring points of view from the left or the right, and I think
that gives you a lot of good content to read.
Well, I just think it's what's needed. A free and open forum.
I like free speech. I'm a big fan of it.
More people are going to see your tweets if you get approved. So
I don't tweet that much.
I was about to say he doesn't tweet that much.
I reply a lot. I don't tweet many original tweets.
Did you see the shuttle landed on the chopsticks, or the booster landed on the chopsticks?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah, but it was super impressive. I looked at it. Wow, that's so impressive.
He's just going to push the envelope again. Like, what's the next step? What's the next historic breakthrough? Doing that on Mars?
So he designed that?
No.
Oh, I was just making sure. I didn't know.
People think he's a designer, don't they? Per se, he's not a designer.
He probably sat at the table
while he's tweeting about the libs. He's got this mathematical equation in his head to make that happen.
He gets things produced. He gets things moving. He gets things into production, and he does it very successfully. I mean, if you look at their the engines they use. If you look at it from generation 5 to generation 1, it's reduced its parts by, I think it's 2/3 or 1/3, but even 1/3 is crazy, dropping it by parts.
Hey, Mr. Kelsey, good to see you, man.
They're supposed to be so reliable now.
Yeah, we talked about that. We looked at the 3 engines like probably a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and the first one looked like a fucking bird's nest. You know, the most recent one is just far more efficient.
Yeah,
and
he believes in things that he believes like less is more as well, and it's just more efficient and less to break in it.
So here's what I would say: let's keep him out there where he's doing great work. I don't want him distracted by, some idiotic job like the Minister of Government Efficiency or something.
You don't think he could make leaps or put the right people in, because he's gonna put people in. He's not going to do it.
He doesn't have the kind of control in the federal government that he can't, because of the way it's structured, that he does in private industry.
Okay, maybe there's a problem there, but like he can get his crack team on it, he knows the people, right? And you could say, come back to me. I want a meeting every week.
I'm sure he would do good no matter where he is.
Yes.
I just think he would end up being mostly frustrated trying to reform, trying to do reform in the federal government.
I could mostly see that, but let's roll the dice. It's the same with Kennedy and all the preservatives and the colorings and all that shit. This is like,
him. I wouldn't compare. Yeah. I wouldn't compare him to Musk at all.
Well, you don't think he's a genius on the genius level?
I do not.
No, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying that these are like positions that they've all, like the food additives and all that. It's a simple switch. Different parts of the world are using different, more natural stuff. For why aren't you using it? It's a money thing. There's no need to use some of this shit. And if Kennedy does what he says he's going to do, that's got to be good for America.
Thank God, the federal government doesn't have that much control. It's a very cumbersome process to go either way.
I'll agree with you there. I'm sure that's going to be the case.
If we could just look at the good that Kennedy did, then I could be excited about it. But I feel like there's going to be more negative stuff that he's going to be involved with than the positive that he does.
All right.
Here's what I say. I think Kennedy might be entertaining, just for pure bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, don't you think he? I don't know. You tell me what you think, Aphid. Don't you think he might be worth some laughs with this?
Is that what we want out of the rulers of us?
Well, I'm 62.
To laugh at?
I'm 62, so yeah, that's some of what I want.
That's some of the qualifications that we're.
If the country burns after I'm dead, I don't care.
How do you think Trump made it in office? Come on.
Yeah, but obviously, I'm not comparing the two. Obviously, and like for Elon, if, for example, the Democrats would have come in this term, it'd have been they would have fucking destroyed him. They would have fucking destroyed him. They basically said they were going to. Camilla said that they wanted to curb the social media, which meant fucking X, because it's the only one who's not complying with the narrative.
Now, Truth Media, come on. Don't forget about
she did say that, but she kind of backed away from everything she said before.
She flip-flops a lot, so you can't trust the bitch, can you?
No, you can't trust her.
You can't trust any politician or business.
Call her a bitch, but we don't.
Handle and powers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the current cabinet of Biden right now? I'm just asking.
Who do you think Sam on the Biden cabinet?
Huh? Well, what about those 2 trans guys? One of them's out of the government now. He couldn't stop stealing women's luggage from her.
Oh, the nuclear one? The guy
Sam something.
That is so embarrassing.
Sam Brinton. That's was his name.
And then you got the other
Rachel Levin.
You had the other woman that killed so many people in my fucking state. Yep. And she's in charge of health. Okay,
she's
great.
The Surgeon General.
Yep.
There's a picture of them both. I wish.
Oh, did you got Pelosi re-won her seat? Oh,
Pelosi.
Not
I was just
surprising.
checking. Yeah, I was checking to see if Pelosi got her seat back, and she's her 20th term. Landmark.
She's out of California. That's why.
Yeah, but then Shifty Shift got in. I thought. Yeah, I was just curious if they replaced her with someone else because she's getting up there.
California's
That's
California.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
sir.
Are you guys fans of Schiff?
No, I hate him.
No, I think
Who?
Pencil neck.
Adam
Pencil
Schiff.
neck Schiff.
He's
Shifty
a
Shift.
liar. He's a liar from way back.
I think he's more.
How long has he been in the game?
Aphid? What was that?
I think he's more normal than most of the other people that these guys like.
Who?
No,
Like,
yes, I'm totally serious.
I'll give you Green, and I'll
He
give
looks like
you
a weasel. He looks like a weasel, Schiff.
Who's
Like
the
a
one
real
that's from
weasel.
Florida? Gaze.
Buttigieg. Is that Buttigieg?
Getz?
What?
Matt Getz?
Or Matt Getz?
Gates.
Yeah. So
Gates.
Green,
That guy's
him,
a clown.
and I know you're gonna put Ted Cruz on that list, but
No.
What state is
no.
Gates? What state is Gates from?
Florida.
Florida.
If it wasn't for Trump, Cruz, and what's the Marco Rubio, those guys would be so more regular.
Oh, Rubio.
They're only extreme because they want the power. You know, they see that that's the only way they could succeed. If we get a, let's say in 8 years or whatever, we get some normal Republican in there that's more like the normal. Both Cruz and Marco Rubio will be totally normal, like whatever they're weak. They're not their own people. They're only going to try to do and make themselves what everybody else is accepting at that time.
Right. They ain't rocking no boats. Their job is to make sure the boat's nice and steady.
Who does McGrande love? Love him?
Shifty
He
Shift.
loves. Oh, shit.
Whatever. And you know what? If you respect any of these people, there's something wrong with you.
Schiff.
Yeah, I don't
Schiff,
respect.
Schiff was the guy
imagine
who said he has proof
Of
that Trump and Russia colluded.
Yeah, he literally lied.
And 3 years later, he still hasn't produced it.
It's next to the Epstein list, probably.
Yeah, his statement by saying he's seen it, give the whole accusation more grounds, didn't it? At the
Absolutely.
time.
That's freedom of speech, my man.
Yeah, but it was
Did
also
he
a
lie in
lie.
front of Congress?
Freedom
or
of lying,
Senate?
but,
Did he lie in
freedom
the
of
Senate?
lying.
Or was it just an interview?
I don't know. What does it matter?
Well,
None of these politicians lie.
So,
He's the only one.
AFED,
They're all
who's the
terrific.
worst of the worst right now? Take away Trump. Take away Trump. Take away Trump.
a bit of a bad lie.
The worst.
that,
Well, there's a lot of
lies
them.
Go. As lies
But what's
go, that's
number
a
one
big,
on your
big
list,
lie.
though?
Well, from both sides, you know.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter.
The worst of the worst. Probably the one that I can't stand the most is probably that Gates clown. I just really can't stand that. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean,
Yes.
and the Boebert. Those three.
Boebert.
Those three, I just really can't stand. I can't stand any extremes for different reasons on the other side too. But it's not because of, so much they lie, cheat, and steal like those three.
What does Boebert do other than just
Look for
chase
not what
clout?
it's who.
Just chase the clout. Are they clout chasers or are they just more? That's what they do, right?
Well, the Matt Gaetz guy is intimidated people, and I don't know, that guy just seems really scummy.
who's the female Democrat Somali who married her brother?
Oh, in Michigan, not Michigan.
Elon
Talib?
Omar.
Oh, Omar.
Not it's her mate. How did she get away with that?
Who the fuck cares who she marries? I don't.
Okay.
Well, her brother. It's a little weird, but that's okay.
Who knows? Is it really her brother? Who knows what the?
Yes.
Like her straight up brother.
Even if it's true, what the fuck I care? That's her problem.
But is that true? Is that true? I'm curious.
I don't know. There's no proof of it. It's just hearsay.
Right? No. The proof is there, but
the New York Times
whether they're in a relationship or not is a different matter.
That's the most I know about her is what you've just said right now. So I don't.
The call is.
I heard it a long time ago.
It was the easy way into the country to get it done that way, but they're not in a relationship. That's the reality. That's
okay.
You know who my favorite person is DeSantis. I think someone should come in here and argue against me about that.
Well, the same reason. You know why?
Nice try, buddy. Try different.
The same reason. I tell you, I'm not impressed with him for the same reason I wasn't impressed with Kamala because he couldn't come through in the primaries.
Yeah, but as far as the job he's doing down, like he's handled like the hurricane situations better than a lot of people high up have handled situations.
Sean McGrady.
Yeah, he's good as a governor.
Yeah, he is.
He's a great governor, and he should be president of the United States.
And Kamala was a popular attorney general in California.
Yeah, she did. She did good, man. You can't.
Very popular. I did hear she was very popular.
The times I've seen her,
was that an accomplishment? Or base? Is that accomplishment? Because I kept hearing, what did she accomplish? Was that an accomplishment though?
Well, what does a prosecutor accomplish? Puts people in jail. She was tough on crime.
She was good at like a Monica special. That's who she was renowned for.
I mean, I hate Ted Cruz, but Ted Cruz was a brilliant Supreme Court lawyer.
Doesn't matter. He shit on his dad.
He did shit on his dad. Yeah, Ted Cruz was a brilliant Supreme Court lawyer. Many times he was.
What did he do? Like what? Why do you say? I don't watch many
because
Supreme Court lawyers.
Well, no, I've seen clips of how he handled his situation, and he was confident, and I mean similar to how he is now. He just seems like he lies and twists the truth where you can't get away with that.
I don't know.
Court judges.
I think the fact that he shit on his father is all I need, right? I don't need more evidence.
No, right.
His dad was the Zodiac killer.
I mean, what kind of man shits on his father?
When he sat there and welcomed Trump and said how much he loved him after he said that about his own dad.
Trump hinted that his dad was involved in the assassination of JFK. And ever since then, Cruz has given him tongue baths.
Yes.
Constantly.
That's true.
How much respect can you have for a guy like that?
And Trump did say his missus was a bit of a looker as well.
Yeah, that's right. You can't stop there. He pretty much went after him.
He said, I'm not being funny, she's a looker.
He covered every base with being a dick to.
He just handed Trump his balls and said, "There you go."
And Cruz has lapped his nutsack ever since.
Please give him back when you're all done.
This is how big my balls are. This big.
I mean, seriously, how can you respect a guy? How can you? After that incident, how can you put a sign in your front yard that shows your admiration for him?
Well,
beyond me. It's beyond
like this.
me.
Dink, dink, dink.
I've seen a viral clip of Cruz family, and they were clapping, and the wife's there with the daughters.
Oh my God!
As they clapped for Trump, the daughter turned around and said to the mother, "Don't clap for Trump." And the mother kept on clapping for about another 2 seconds to stop.
Because she likes going to get the fucking Prada gear and her Louis Vuitton purse, and she likes going on these South American trips when Houston is freezing or whatever that happened back then.
I'd say the daughter's a bit of a looker as well.
Isn't she like
RW? Your bag is so loud.
Isn't the daughter
making me hungry?
Sorry about that, fellas.
Forgiving Trump. I don't think
I liked it.
Forgiving Trump though.
I liked it.
Could you crunch some potato chips into the mic? That would be awesome.
Oh man!
God,
awesome.
Stop! You're putting me to sleep.
ASMR, man.
That's white noise for you, huh?
Yeah. Oh my God! You guys that are married, and I'm sure I do it all the time, but when my wife comes home or goes to bed with a snack, and I'm like just on the verge of falling asleep, and
you allow food in that?
If it smells or if it's loud, it's just like
you allow food in the bedroom.
What am I supposed to tell my wife that she can't do what she wants to do?
Yeah.
The mass crummer.
Okay, Sean Connery.
Well, no, there's no food allowed in the bedroom. Hell no.
You don't like sleeping on crumbs, Topple?
No, fuck. That's the reason. You don't do it.
I'm not gonna tell my wife she can't do what she chooses to do. Are you kidding me?
Oh God, I guess I am a Trump supporter then.
Yeah, I say Topple's based. Can't fault him. Look at that, giving it that.
Oh no. If you're married, you understand that. Like, hey, I don't want you eating in the bed, and she's like, I want you to lift the toilet seat. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, touche. Touche.
It's her side of the bed. If she wants to sleep in crumbs, she can sleep in crumbs.
Oh, but they travel. And they're
I
so
know.
annoying.
Here's what I would do. I'd sweep them over to your side.
Do your dogs sleep in the bed with you?
Chip does. You damn
So,
right.
So he'll eat them up anyway. So
if they're in front of his nose, he's not going to work hard to get them.
Really? I know there's no food allowed in the bed.
Oh, and you would tell, like, if your wife was hungry and she wanted to eat something in bed, you'd tell her she got to take that back in the kitchen.
The only time she's allowed to eat.
No, he'd slap.
What do you mean? What do you mean allowed? Like that's not part of my vocabulary.
I know.
It's allowed.
You called me before I could backtrack on that one.
That's why it's good.
When she's sick and in bed, it's okay because we understand.
Well, then tell me this: once a month, is she allowed to have snacks in the bedroom?
Whoa! You went that route. I did not. Nope. Is your wife sitting next to you right now?
No, she's not.
All right, you're safe.
No, she's in the doorway while she's pointing a gun at him.
No, my wife is pretty good with that.
His wife does hang around because whenever he makes a mistake, she's immediately
she's right here.
No, that's not right.
No, look, I have I hope, in her eyes, I'm sure it's not, but I hope to have a logical, rational expectation that it's a give and take thing, and there's some things that I do that I'm sure
she's going to give you crumbs and you're going to take them.
That's right. That annoy her, and there's certain things that she does that annoy me.
Well, but
I'm not
like
going to tell her. I'm not going to tell her.
Ooh, like what?
I'm not going to tell her in any way, shape, or form she can't do something that just annoys me in some way.
Such a big example.
You take it easy, Mr. Kelsey, and I appreciate you stopping by even just for a little bit.
I always love to see Mr. Kill.
Awesome guy, Mr. Kelsey.
How about this? My wife doesn't want to eat in bed anyway, so I don't have to worry about that.
Well, then there you go.
It's not a topic.
So you're treading onto something that you don't need to be treading onto.
The biggest fight that we ever had about the bedroom, and she won because that's what happens, is a TV. It was a TV in a bedroom. I'm anti-TV in the bedroom.
Oh, that's big.
I like that.
Yeah, you have to have a TV in the bedroom. Wow, dude, you're really
no.
What an asshole! Wow.
No, because
did you compromise and get her like an old little black and white one that's like
she has a TV. We have a TV in our room, but that was one of my biggest things.
It's on a timer though, isn't it? It switches off at 12 o'clock.
I just can't go to sleep with the TV on. I just can't.
Because of the light.
I don't. Maybe it's in my head
when you go to sleep.
You just need to get a silk eye patch, like the little silk eyewear that's all like.
I have that. I'm not gonna lie. I have that.
We only watch TV that we both want to watch. We never. It's never one person watches something that any other one doesn't want to see it.
Right.
That's impossible between me and my wife. We don't watch the same shit.
Then don't have TV.
You can't. You can't. I don't know if I could say 100%. I'm always in favor of what she's watching, but it's another thing that it's like some nights I get to watch what I want to watch.
You want to watch Big Brother?
Oh my God, I couldn't watch that.
Thank God. The shit I'm talking about.
Her music taste, movie taste for the most part, and everything taste is similar to my own. So
okay, good.
I mean, my girlfriend likes different movies than I like, but I'll watch some of the ones she likes, and I'd say about half to 75% of the time I end up being surprised that was actually a good movie, or at least
Right.
good enough to watch. It's better than I thought.
Right.
Can we say the key word that you used was girlfriend? Okay.
Yeah, well, she's been my girlfriend for 5 years, so it's
5 years.
and she's living with me now. So
Why didn't you put a ring on that finger yet?
Oh, it's
If you wanted,
complicated.
then you
It's so
should have put a
fucking
ring on
complicated.
it.
I don't even want to get into it. It's
No, don't get into it at
no,
one bit. So
it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with her, though.
okay.
Do you think she feels anything towards that, or you both understand the situation and it is what it is?
She doesn't watch this, does she ever?
She watches a few minutes of it.
Okay, then we don't
she can hear me talking though.
Are the few minutes right now?
It doesn't matter. I'm not hiding anything from her.
That is a great relationship.
Yeah,
my kids make it extremely complicated, and I'm not yet sure how to work that out.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's got
Life is complicated. Last Dance. We all know that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So
I just want to go back to the crumbs real quick.
God.
Do you guys remember when your kids were growing up and just how much crumbs they could create in a short period? Yeah. They like crumbs fall from them everywhere.
We always had dogs. We always had dogs, so they were gone in a second.
So
they're gone.
I mean,
they followed them around while they were eating.
Topo, that reminds me. Me and my wife every day, because we work together. So every day at lunch we get these websites up, and it's always like countdown. I think I brought it up before. It's like 50, every state's best this or best dogs or
that's the shit I watch too. So.
Yeah, this last week it was one of the things we came across was the oldest dog breeds, because my wife is totally into dogs. And what's your dog? Is it Jack? I could have this wrong.
It's a rat terrier. It's a rat terrier.
Rat
terrier.
That was in the top 10 on the longest living dogs.
What was it? A rat terrier?
A rat terrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Wishbone.
It was breeded to go after rats.
Yeah, so working, I would suggest it would have been like the oldest breeds technically, because that's what.
Well, it lasts the longest. The health wise, like it lives the longest.
Our dog's not
the longest, but it was in the top 10 of the longest.
Yeah, she's not spaded, so they say about generally 13 to 15 years. With spaded, could be 15 to 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Shih Tzus last a really long time, but when they're like 20, 25 years old, they look like zombies.
Shih Tzus actually is like 12 to 15 range. Lhasa Apsos, which look almost exactly the same, which I had, are a little bit older than that. And we had our last love dog when we were first got together and we got married, last 17 years. And he was deaf and blind, but he was still kicking.
That's a legend. What about birds? Have you ever had nice birds? Like I helped take care of an African gray, but that's a 70-year lifespan. Could you imagine a pet that lives as long as you do? That'd be crazy.
I've had cockatiels, but I don't know if
they're like 30 to 50, right?
Yeah. Well, if you don't burn Teflon in
there,
are you kidding me?
That's terrible.
Can you imagine having a right like grumpy gray as well?
A what?
A grumpy old man bird.
Yeah, like not even funny, like just a nasty one. Just
let me die. Just let me die already.
It's not like he could curse you out. You just like do sniper attacks at any time, so it's like untrustworthy. So you live for 50 years, and it's like, we got the devil in the corner. It's like fuck.
They definitely get depressed, man. They can definitely be depressed. They rip their chest feathers out and show their grief.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I've heard that.
Actually, we're in the talks right now to adopt another dog. So,
what?
About to add another one to our family. What's that?
Do you already know the dog?
It's another rat terrier, actually, and it's a puppy right now. So, I don't know how my dog would.
Why is it a rescue? Or why isn't it an adopt situation?
It's from an adopt website.
Oh, okay, so it's not like the neighbor's like beating it with a stick every day, and you're gonna go save its life.
The reason we have this dog is because my brother-in-law is not the greatest human being in this world, and got the dog, and was about to just release it in the city, and we said, "Fuck no, we'll take her in and we'll find a home for her." And we fell in love, and we're like,
that's why she licks your nostrils all the time, because she's so thankful that you saved her life.
And it always, she loves me.
She loves.
Does she do it right after she licks her ass?
In your nostril.
She doesn't actually lick her ass. The only problem she has, she rubs herself in deer shit. She'll rub herself in deer shit. That's
yeah. That could be a problem.
Yeah. So she stinks.
I know that you let your dog off leash and you see him going ahead, and suddenly he starts rolling over and something, and you know what that means. He's found something that stinks.
Last time I done a video about it, man. He rode around in Fox's shit when I was taking for a walk. And, like you said, you knew, and I just went on to record this.
They're
and
trying to cover their shit.
Yeah, dog shit all over him.
Fox's
shit all over him.
God, I remember once.
I had to put him in the river. I had to dip him in the river, like.
There are dogs that eat shit, though. You gotta be careful of.
Oh, I saw my dog eat shit.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
It's
not like
am I not feeding you enough?
Just wolfed it down. Like, what the hell? Was there some corn in there?
It's called a crapatizer.
When it first happened, I was shocked, but then
it is quite distressing.
Yeah,
and my dog's done it as well, but it's very rare.
And then every time your dog licks you,
whenever I
see, the rest of the day, you're like,
you have these commercials on TV where there's like, oh, this dog food is, it's made of natural, the best ingredients. I was like, this dog eats shit. What do you mean it tastes good? He does not care.
Yeah, he used to do it, and he was like super young and stuff, like really young. He hasn't done it for about 6 years, so it's like that's so.
He's more heartburn and indigestion as he gets older, huh? I feel his pain.
Yeah. Stop eating the
cat turds probably cause some serious indigestion.
Sure.
Cat turd. I remember now from Live Leak.
Who?
He's on X, I thought.
Cantor?
Cat turd.
You're right. No,
he's on Twitter.
Cat turd. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, why is he so popular? Is he news release or what does he go after?
He's
like the right wing crowd.
The far right wing.
Right.
He is far right.
Far right, or he goes after the far right.
He's not far right. You're not going to tell me he's far right.
I will. He's definitely far. Kind of a stupid fringe.
Because he's your best friend. It might be true. He's far right.
do you know Islamist cat? Islamic cat?
No.
Yeah, it's a cat.
Is it the counter?
It's a Muslim cat. There's a jihadi, and it does some really good stories. But yes, it's.
Who's Bob's World?
Bob's World.
Bob's World was a live leaker.
That was a live leaker.
He was gay and he became homeless and
he filmed his whole eviction.
Yeah, he lived in a home and had to live in a cot, and he was he was still doing Yearsays while he was
being evicted. It was sad. It was sad though. I'm not gonna laugh on anybody's downtime, so.
It's nothing like somebody's downfall to make yourself feel better about your own miserable life. There's nothing wrong with that.
I feel like there was a lot of live leakers like that.
There was the guy that lived down in Florida that lived. He pissed into the bottles.
I thought you were going to say Mr. God.
Dozens of gallon milk cartons that were filled with piss. His floor was rotten through, and he had just plywood floors because all the linoleum had been removed from his trailer, whatever he was living in. He kept hassling me. He's like, "Come on, man, tell me the secret. How are you making money off Live Leak?" And I just kept telling him, I'm like, "Dude, I don't make a dime off Live Leak. Not a dime." The Big Shark guy was convinced I made money off Live Leak.
Big Shark, I forgot about that guy.
Was constantly trying to get me to tell him the secret of how I made money off Live Leak.
You should have told him the secret, man. Made it elaborate.
Right, you made it very
I
complicated.
should have.
You gotta fly
You
to
gotta
UK
wear
every
green
month.
socks, but only on Tuesdays. That's how it starts.
To be honest with you, the big shark guy was there was a laundry list of the people I could put into this category, but he doxed me continuously, and I was always completely nice to that guy. I don't understand why he shit on me like that.
Wait, Big Shark?
Yeah, we called him Big Shark.
Big Shark, yeah. And I had that. Do you guys remember? He wasn't a wrestler. He was like a fat Mexican down in.
Yeah, but he always wore
had a mask. Yeah,
yeah.
He
Nacho Libre.
Do you guys remember that Motorcycle Vancouver? I think his name was.
Yes,
he was like that
yeah.
clown, that younger guy. Well, I had him on my show once, and Big Shark knew I was going to have him on my show, and he had that guy's put his wife on the Motorcycle Vancouver had his wife on there a lot, and the Big Shark guy was just like creepily fascinated with her, and he had all this information about her, and he wanted me to confront Motorcycles Vancouver when I had him on the show about it. And I'm just like, man, this is so creepy, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I must have handled it the wrong way because he ended up doxing me, later on.
Have you been working on any drawings lately, bro?
No, I'm thinking about, there's I don't want to get into it, but there's a chance I might shortly.
Okay.
I
did a drawing the other day, so I was
did
thinking
you?
of you.
Oh, what you got a picture of it? You got it?
Yeah, I think so. I'll
let's see it, dude.
You
let's
another
see it.
It's
oh,
not,
okay.
Yeah, no,
okay,
it's
okay,
fucking
okay,
terrible.
okay.
But I was so Sarita's,
don't be ashamed.
left.
Don't be ashamed of it. If anything motivates you to do it. Plus, art is the eye of the beholder, because a lot of people, because everything I do is ultra realistic, and some artists think that's not even art, So
yeah, mine's more of a political, ultra realistic.
Yeah, don't be ashamed of whatever.
I'm not ashamed. It's more like the gift giving love language, because like Sarita's not here, so I was like, I'm gonna take a picture of her and draw her,
cool, man. Good
and
for
send
you.
it to her, and it was.
Is Sarita okay?
Yeah, no, she's visiting family back across the whole world in Australia, New Zealand. So she's living the life.
Is she gonna come back?
I hope so.
She leave the kids?
We talked about that and planned for it. We'll see how she goes with having no kids for a month. We'll see if she takes the return ticket.
Good one.
So, are you homeschooling your own kids? Do you usually homeschool them, or is it she?
No, I'm the guy.
Okay.
Teaching is not her talent. Mine is barely teaching.
Okay.
But homeschool has changed drastically. So in North Carolina, you have to do 2 tests a year. They have to show halfway where they're at for that year, and then they have to pass the final test. So I'm basically, once they understand the core concepts, they have a journal that I have them either do artwork in, creative writing, whatever I can get their interest in. And then because to me, the aspect of learning is understanding knowledge and problem solving. And so if I can get them to problem solve and figure out how to study, they're already going to be at a college level at their age. Because so much of the busy work, like I hated school when I was growing up because of the busy work. You can understand the concept and they just give you like 50 problems and you got to sit there and solve 50 problems or else you get a bad grade. I can't force that on people. Crickets. It's all good.
I almost had to do homeschooling, so I admire you for doing it.
I like to do the 50 problems because I could show off.
My wife.
Okay, good for you. Gold
wife
for dance.
My wife was homeschooled, and she's trying to force that with my daughter, and I strongly disagree. So,
well, I mean, why force? I mean, I guess I'm forcing it, so what's the mindset?
So she's on the spectrum, so she has some difficulties with kids, and now she's she's in 7th grade. She's close to getting into high school, so she's worried. And I'm like, things are different, and she has to face things in the real life when we're not around. So
what's interesting about what you're saying though is I played a video game last night with a girl from Australia, and she is mentally ill. Like she's like, I'm mentally ill and I'm blah 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 and this all and that. And we were talking about mental illness, and I was like, the United States, the amount of mental illness in the United States is off the charts. So your daughter is on a spectrum, like autistic spectrum, whatever.
Spectrum. Yes.
Okay. But the normal kids that are in class with her, who knows what the hell kind of mental illness they're going through.
Oh yeah.
So like I think the whole aspect of being on the spectrum is, I think America needs to have a conversation about mental illness.
Well, her biggest thing is social anxiety. So that's kind of like another thing. It's like, I'm not trying to torture her, but she has to learn to deal with people in real life. That's one of our biggest.
I mean, normal people struggle with that one.
Yeah. Well, she's just.
You're extroverted, Topple. I'm extroverted. My wife is introverted. She's not keen on that.
Oh, I'm
my
not.
dad is not keen. If my dad, he's a great guy. I love him. He talks a lot of game, but when it comes down to having to deal with someone face to face with a problem, he will not be barking like a dog. He's going to non-confrontationally solve the problem. So to each their own.
But at the same time, my wife also works at home, and she lost a lot with homeschooling, with when she got out into the real world, college and all. She was very awkward and gullible and all those other things. She could have been that regardless of homeschooling or not. But she also, to this day, it's funny because she'll say she missed out so much from being homeschooled. But now she wants to put our daughter in homeschool. And that's kind of like
the dichotomy of the world situation since COVID, I feel has changed. When we were growing up in school, for high school for me, and I don't know when she was in high school or whatever, but it was all about popularity, about sitting at the cool table. You know, the politics of life was common. But if the kids in high school right now are dealing with the ideologies that have popped up since COVID, man, I don't want my kid in that bullshit. I don't want my kid sitting in conversations like that.
Like I said, I already had a kid that went through high school, this whole high school, and it's not all that though. What you see and hear, obviously you're going to get some teachers like that, but like I said before, when the teachers start going on with their rants, they pull out their phones and start recording them and say, "You want to keep talking because it's going to end up on the internet."
You're telling me that? So when I went to high school in 2004, I graduated. There was kids already then that were like a dude that was like beta female, and he dressed up like a woman and had like fashion arm clothing on and everything, and he was just fucking weird. But that he was ahead of his curve. Now, I can't imagine that there's not 100 times more of that.
I can't. My son has a friend like that right now, and it's just. Back then, they used to get, we graduated at the same time, different school. I went to Philly, then I went outside of Philly. So, yeah, it was a change in when I went from Philly to a suburban high school. But it was just more, it wasn't more welcoming. It was just more like the kid wasn't going to get their ass beat. And I understand where you're coming from with like, the Pride Month and all that stuff. It's not really that taught in, at least I can speak for our school district I'm in. It's not really taught in our school district. And am I afraid of it? I could see the aspect of being afraid a little bit. Like, they're not going to push my kid to be like, "Oh, no, you're feeling this way because you relate as a woman or a man or something." They don't do that. Well, not that I know of in these schools. They're just more acceptable if a kid comes out and says what they feel at that time period.
I mean, I'm also struggling with the concept of the value of education that's being offered.
That's true.
I know that my 10-year-old son is more intelligent than the neighbor's kid who's like 14.
Well, it depends. So, that's another reason I stay and a lot of people ask me why I stay in the state of Pennsylvania is because one of the reasons is they do have better education system for grade school. It might, and I'm not saying like, I want to better my kid or homeschooling will better your kid. You should know your own kid. My daughter has a hard time learning and all that stuff. Regardless, she would be better with learning with someone that is not her father or mother, and we're not teaching her anything extra because she's very well. She's like your regular B student. She excels in certain subjects, but she's below in other ones. So,
can I ask you a personal question?
Which one?
Yeah, I love it. I love those.
You, Topple.
What's up?
And you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer it.
Go for it.
But like, what do you say to the parents that think that it's holding their kids back because they have to give special attention to a student like your daughter in a public school setting?
So in the public school, she has an IEP or IEP. So the classes that she excels in, they're mainstream, or she's in, I forget what the terminology is, like in a better, but the ones that she struggles in, she's in a different classroom. She's not in the same classroom as mainstream people. But if you're saying what you're saying, there's also after school programs. There's also, I almost said special educational teachers that will sit in the class with those students on a separate side too. So there might be a table of kids that have another teacher with them to help them that have a slow time learning. So,
do you think that she benefits from being in a public school setting with other kids than if she was in some other situation?
Right now, where we stand, I think it's beneficial for her with what she struggles with just social anxiety. She has approved, and also she also goes sees another. Well, outside of school, we have her in I hate to say therapy, but other classes to learn these things. And she has a lot of friends, and like who didn't have a hater in high school or middle school?
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
That was Welchie, I think.
Oh, base. Okay.
But where she stands right now, I don't have a problem with her being in school. My problem is my wife trying to hurry up and put her in. Like, there's no reason right now.
Do you feel like she's trying to rescue her or something? Is that the vibe?
My wife is a very big helicopter mom, and on top of it, you could call me an asshole, but my daughter's on the spectrum, but at the same time, she tries to use that as an excuse. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, but but
I love you as much as you love us all, Tom.
Yes, yeah, I love you all. But the big thing is she tries to make it an excuse. Like, if she does something bad, you got to fucking call her out on it. Don't coddle her. Don't baby her. Right. She is 12 years old, turning 13.
Yeah.
And at the same time, yes, you might, like with my son, I would whoop his ass if he did something really bad. But with her, well, she's my daughter. I don't think I could ever lay a finger on her. But it's more like it's a teaching.
Just take the phone, bro. Death by phone takeover.
Well, with her, it wouldn't matter with a phone. Like, there's no kryptonite to her right now. Maybe her art supply.
She's winning. I see.
Yes, she's good.
The student has become the teacher.
But also, she does that. She's a daddy's girl, so it's kind of, she doesn't upset me most. It's my wife she upsets. But I think that's how it usually goes anyway. But Last Dance, you have daughters. Was that the way it was? Like,
why are you
daddy's
your
girl?
babies there? I don't understand the hand gesture.
My kids had a poor experience with My kids had a poor experience, especially with middle school, and
okay.
I wish if I had to do it over again, I don't think I wouldn't put them there. I'd either put them in a private school of some kind, or homeschool them anywhere but there. It was just not a good experience for them.
You let them perish.
It's hindsight. It's hindsight, though. My son almost identical. Middle school for some reason he struggled with, and he's doing better in high school. But
when we talk about struggle, we talk about with the education, or we talk
Probably
about
the
with
pecking
I don't know.
order.
I don't know what last
being
name.
there.
My son.
No, I'm not talking about the education. I'm talking about their confidence and personality, and
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly.
they went in as normal, confident kids, and they came out seemingly damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the pecking order is brutal. I remember middle school.
I thought high school was worse because my wife said that middle school for her was worse, and I was like, I don't know. I thought high school was worse.
I didn't have middle school.
You usually find out who you are by the end of middle school, and when you go into high school, you kind of are who you are. I became a clown. That's how I survived.
I was the kid from Philly, and I got picked on in my suburb school for that because I came from Philly. I was
Really?
different from them.
Like
Yes.
That's a rival thing or something?
Well, they're like, no, they were like, oh, you think you're a hard ass, and I didn't go into that school being a hard ass. I was actually trying just to be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Blah blah blah. They're like, oh, you're from Philly. You think you're tough? I'm like, I didn't do that kind of attitude with you. It took 2 years, and then people finally, they start welcoming me in.
You only had to kill a couple of them, huh?
No. Well, it's two different worlds when you go from a class that has 45 students that no one's learning anything. They're just passing everybody. And that was
45. Did you say 45?
I had 45. Yeah, yeah. And then
kids in your class, there's 45 kids?
45 per class, not my whole grade.
I know that seems
my grade.
Oh wait, what? No way.
Yes.
They had that many kids in the classroom? That's
Well, I
amazing.
went from that to a suburb school that only had, I think it was 15 to 20 kids per class. But I was in trade school or tech school at that time, so it really didn't matter that much because I spent half my day in tech school, the other half in high school. So
in Maryland, in high school for me, they capped it 30 kids. I think it was 29, and then during my last year, they upgraded it to 30. We were like cattle walking through those hallways. We could never get to class on time because it was so packed.
We had 3 separate bells. We had 3.
You want to say which high school you went to?
What?
I don't, is that it was in Ellicott City.
Okay.
Go Eagles.
Don't underestimate the size of the pub. Don't give out too much information, please.
Yeah.
That's why I said, do you want to?
Yeah, I enjoyed high school. I finished with a GED because I realized by my junior year that it was our senior year. It's just a joke. Like I'm going to class and I'm not learning anything. And I didn't want to become a physicist or anything. So I wasn't pushing calculus. So I just wanted to get to work and get a job. I didn't want, and everybody was like pushing college. Like, oh, what college are you going to get to? I was like, man, I don't fucking care. I just want to go earn money and live my life. I'm tired of being a slave to this crap.
See, they were pushing trades when we graduate the same year.
I wish they were pushing trades.
They were pushing trades because the counselors kind of knew, like, you're going to college. You're not going to college. You should go to trade school. And
I wish they would have pushed that, man.
But I was already going to tech school anyway at that time period. So, I did end up going to college. Though. I did go to college, though.
So yeah, McGrandy had 30 kids in his class. That's the hard. Once you have one teacher to 30 kids, you're lecturing. You're not teaching anyone.
Well, how long were your classes too per subject?
I'm pretty sure they were an hour. I can't remember exactly.
Was an hour and a half. So we were on. I forget. There's block scheduling and standard scheduling. We had whatever was an hour and a half classes.
I believe we had a rotating schedule or an AB schedule. I honestly can't remember that either. But I mean, I remember that almost every single class was just a waste of time, and it was all about you're late or you didn't bring your book, or it's just like just teach, just teach me something.
Well, there was rules when I got to the suburban school. There was no rules when I was in the city school. Like you're late,
no tardy.
They don't write you down. It was bad.
It's like who cares? Well, I'm glad you came. Thank you for even showing up.
And on top of it, I had to wear a uniform in public school in the city. When I got to the high school in the suburbs, you could wear any. I'm like, this is amazing. I could chew.
I had dress code once. I got kicked out of that school. That was a Christian school.
Well,
I didn't wear my tie to church, and so they sent me back. I was like, does Jesus not let people in if they're not wearing a tie? I didn't see that in the Bible. Can you show me the scripture that says that? They didn't like me. I was an independent thinker.
They used a stick with Jesus on it and taught you.
Yeah, they tried.
Oh.
But
Is that
I'm
real?
thankful my parents backed me.
Is that real? The nuns used to beat people with rollers?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh.
Really?
Even in schools.
I wasn't religious at all, so I heard that term and I'm like, get out of here. They're beating kids.
No, dude. They smack the shit out of kids in private schools. Yeah.
Well,
and what's funny is people say, spare the rod, spoil the child, but that's not actual scripture. That's a compilation of two different scriptures that people made and act like it's something the Bible says. You do want to discipline people, right? You do want people to understand that there is something that they did wrong and that that they did something wrong. You don't want to just let everything slide. But at the same time, I don't think you're supposed to beat the shit out of people. I don't think that's
See, our teachers just cursed us the fuck off and then just threw us out of class. That's all they did to us.
In city school or
no, this was city school. They had no control of the classroom. They just got there to. It's a joke. I feel bad because probably most of these teachers really want to change people, and most of them times they did because they would like have 2 students they would focus on, and the rest could get fucked off.
Right.
But yeah, that's how the city school was. That's how I feel at that time period in our time. I don't know how it is today. I can't speak for that.
Who knows? Who knows?
But
I mean, in the 90s, I was just a number. I know that.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. I'm guessing you guys had similar school experiences, or you're one generation above us for the school experience.
They were smoking cigarettes in school,
playing poker, taking shots at cafe. I mean, because that was before weed was banned, right?
What?
Huh?
Weed was legal for a certain point, wasn't it?
In what state?
Not that I remember.
In the United States. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't on the controlled list until like the 70s or something, right?
Oh, jeez.
I wasn't born until 73.
Okay.
No, but
I mean, but even 10 years above my high school experience.
Are you putting me in the same? Are you putting me in the same age group as this guy up here? Come on.
Well, I'm putting you. I'm putting you in the age.
He was 1 year behind
probably
me.
Bigger.
I can't believe you're turning. You said 50. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
No, dude, I'm 51. I'm 51.
Oh, Jesus.
Next August, I'll be 52. I hate to. It hurts, man, to even say it, but it's. I
mean,
what am I
is
supposed to
51
do?
really different than 52? For me, it'd be 50, and then it's just 60.
50 hurt, man. 50 hurt. Yeah, 50 was like.
Oh.
Because you're like, because when you're a kid, you see 50-year-olds and you're like, there's no way you can possibly relate to them or
his life's over. That's when you
like I can remember when my dad was like in his late 40s, he got on a bike, and I was like worried for his health, I don't want me to hop on a bike and somebody be like, oh shit, man, he shouldn't be getting on that thing.
Oh.
I still
every
to
day at
this
the half
day.
pipe.
When I leave the grocery store, if I have a big cart and it's got a bunch of shit in it, as soon as I get out the front door, I push it as hard as I can and jump up on the back of it.
Damn straight, you do.
Like I've had some people
I still got it in me.
I've had some people come up to me and they're like make a deal out of it and say, "That's awesome,
sure, you're
you
hip.
did that."
Watch your hip.
Like, you're right. And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, why are you singling me out?"
See, the funniest thing.
It's the peppered beard, man.
I guess so.
See,
Or like when they now, like they always, if you do the self-checkout, you can't just buy alcohol, you got to get certified in, like there's some kind of procedure you have to go through. And it comes up on the screen like as the person over 40. Like it's been years since anybody checked me on that. They're like, oh yeah, no.
By the way, I got carded again.
Did you?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, PA, you get carded.
Yeah, I think they just card everybody.
to that question, like, are they over 40? Like, if there was a button that said no doubt about it, I have no doubt that whoever pushes it would be like, hell yeah, there ain't no doubt. He is over 40. Trust me,
40's not bothering me.
Turn the security cameras off because there's nothing illegal going on here. This guy is way over 40,
40's not bothering me, but it's bothering my wife really bad. So.
It's 40 was bad, but man, 50
really?
is like another level. Seriously, 50 was like
40. I don't see 40 being bad though.
So
yeah,
what
40
point
was
is like
bad?
is like the decade like good again? You're like, I made it to 70, bitch. Yeah,
dude,
Like,
it only goes. I can only imagine. And last
guys,
can only.
We got a new guest coming on.
Oh, let's see.
McGrandy.
He can. McGrande can attest to this too. I think that every decade only gets worse from 40. I would
find out
say
next year for 40.
Since 21 was the last time I was like excited to get to a certain age.
McGrande's
everything from 21 is downhill. Everything.
Not really.
No, it's not downhill. It's
downhill.
It's not, dude.
Are you talking about your body though? That's the only thing you gotta worry about is your body.
If it's
Florida.
If it's not, you're not being honest with yourself. This is how I look at it.
I was good until my mid-40s, and then I thought, now I'm starting to feel a little old. I'm not what I used to be. That's what I decided when I was.
Like in what ways?
I started at 25 for me. You're lucky.
Not as fast as I used to be.
Mentally.
Mentally, I was never as sharp.
What year did you realize you were mentally retarded?
Everything slows down a little bit.
The reason it took me so long is because I was mentally retarded.
Right.
Behind the curve, man.
Like I got body aches now. I know it takes a little longer to recover, but
bro,
mentally,
don't sleep on the wrong pillow. That's what I'm saying.
I can't get up from sitting down without feeling a little bit of aches.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think it's
Just
because
stick.
I skateboarded maybe.
You
Too many crashes.
A lot of punishment.
Too many crashes.
Yeah, I've had some not serious, but by any means. But I've had some injuries to just about every.
You think you heal? You think you heal from those, but they're cumulative.
No, yeah.
We watched the guy that fell from 50 feet last week, or 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was.
I'm pretty sure I broke a few ribs, probably 6 or 7 years ago, and that one really, like when I have to wipe my ass, I notice it, like.
See, the only thing that concerns me with getting older is health concerns. Even though you should have that your whole lifetime, but like,
that's scary, dude.
Hey, Top, I've stayed away from doctors for like 10, 15 years.
Ignorance is bliss.
I went to the doctor like Wednesday or Tuesday, election day.
All right,
and I left with a friggin'. I got the flu now.
Oh, okay, just the flu though, right?
You picked it up instead of taking.
Other than that, you're good though, right? All's good, right?
Yeah, I was actually surprised.
All right, good.
Yeah, I feel like going to the doctor. Once I turned 40, I would say it's like, you got 2 dice in your hands and you're rolling crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
That's how
it's dice between your legs.
They're gonna tell you something just horrible.
No, here's the thing, Aphid. It's suddenly I have this like retired schedule, and they want me to do all these tests, and it's, you know what? I'm in charge of my health care, so fuck them. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. But because I smoke, they
useless.
Because I smoke, they want to put me in the tube, and of course the colonoscopy. If you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do that, they want you to smear the shit on the paper and mail it in. But
I'd rather do that.
You don't like ass play?
I'm sorry?
You don't like ass play from the doctors?
No.
My stance says it's not that big a deal. They just put you under and have their way.
It's nothing.
So McGrande, why?
Yeah, but then they're gonna tell you, you got some polyps and they could be cancerous.
So McGrande,
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that information.
No, they're gonna remove them. which
I
you
know,
want.
but I know.
And then they'll test them. I mean, that you do want a colonoscopy.
I know, but there's a chance they're going to tell me. You know, I'm not just. I feel like I'm just not ready. I'm just not ready for somebody to tell me. You know,
let me say this:
you are an anal polyp.
Colon cancer is one of the more treatable cancers.
I know it is. I know these, and I know if I don't light this one up, that I'm gonna have a longer life. You know, I still light it up. You know.
Well,
I got extend, and my family has an extensive line of colon cancer. So I'm like,
my uncle had colon cancer.
Oh, I'm the worst. I'm the worst person.
Well,
He
then
had pretty extensive surgery. He lived until his 90s.
Yes, get it checked.
No shit.
He got his cancer in his 40s.
Yeah.
My mom got like
50
a
years after.
chunk of her intestines taken out, and
She got a chunk of his intestines taken out too.
Good.
Yeah.
But there you are playing ignorance is bliss. You
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
young child still.
That's true.
And I know someday because I don't have any problems in that area. You know, it's not like
Aphid, that shit worked for me. I'm going to be 67 in January.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that shit worked for me too, man. Denial.
Yeah, right.
Oh Jesus!
Well, you know, and I really do think that there is the positive thinking is huge. You know, in personal health care.
No, it's not.
It is. It is true because
No,
there's it is. Let me tell you something, Last Dance. If these guys, there's these guys statistically that go down and I'm not saying that I buy into this because you know me, but they're these guys that have these quack guys that are totally just doing it for the money. Reach into their stomach and or they don't reach into their stomach. They have some fake shit in their hands. And they show it to them and act like they reached into their stomach and pulled the cancer out of them. Those people statistically have a better chance of survival because their brain tells them that they're cured from this quack.
Oh,
then somebody
placebo effect.
I'm gonna call bullshit.
No, it is not bullshit. It is not bullshit.
It's because they weren't sick to begin with.
Exactly. The placebo effect's not going to work on cancer.
No, there's a reason that they do the placebo effect because the placebo effect is real. There is a percentage of your brain that can help you through situations.
That's
just
not what they mean
thinking
when they say the placebo effect is real.
No, that it is because a placebo effect is going to show if you have something that works and you have something that doesn't work. There's a percentage of the population that is going to gain some sort of benefit out of just thinking that they do. Just like if you go to the doctor and you have a better relationship with your doctor, you're statistically have a better chance of a healthier life than if you do not like your doctor and you don't personally.
Aphid.
And not just no. Hold on, it's not just that. It's like the color of the walls can play effect on
ignorance.
Oh man, you.
It is. No, it is. I know it's something that it's not. But statistically, it is a proven thing.
It is not proven.
It is statistically proven.
This is
Show me.
I will show you. I will show you.
Hey, Aphid, when I remember I told you about the emergency room visit and all that shit, and I had to check in with my primary, and I stayed away from the doctor because the first time I went there, they gave me a PA, and I'm like, I'm here to fucking see a doctor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guy, they ended up billing me. The guy was out of the network, and I'm like, you fuckers. I fucking fought that anyway. They took care of that bill.
Oh,
but what I'm getting at is he's an old Jewish guy, and I like him.
Those fuckers.
Yeah.
Damn Jews.
No, he's
not Indian. I'm out.
No, but such a reasonable doctor. He's like, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. You know what I mean? Because he knew I'm a crusty old fucker who just took control of his own healthcare. And I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to do it because you want to do that colonoscopy, and I'm like, I'll think about it. Fuck it.
I got to give Aphid one thing.
What?
The placebo effect is probably more medically valuable than homeopathic medicine.
Yes.
The placebo effect is extremely powerful.
Yes.
This is the placebo effect.
About
you take a placebo and you feel better. You aren't actually better. It doesn't cure cancer. Nobody does better by taking a placebo.
Well,
you just feel better.
Yeah, but on the
Because they
flip
were
side
never
of that,
sick to begin with.
Exactly.
no.
Do you understand homeopathic medicine? Do you know what that is?
I have
I
no
do.
clue. I was going to ask you.
So
Yeah,
homeopathic
actually-
medicine. Say you have a plant, and if you use it at 100%, it has medicinal value. What they do
Yes.
is they dilute that 1 to the 10th so many times, 1 to the 10, 1 to the 10, 1 to the 10, so that there's barely even one molecule of the original substance in the bottle. And somehow the vibrations or whatever, it's like kooky wacko science. And there's so much homeopathic stuff sold. My kid was not feeling well yesterday. He brought me his cough medicine. I'm looking at it and I see homeopathic. I was like, just throw this in the trash. Just go throw this in the trash right now. Because like it's a lie. It's literally placebo medicine.
Can you post that?
Yeah,
on
but
your
if you
Discord?
if you believe that it's if you believe
man.
if you believe that medicine's going to help you, then you have a better chance of that medicine helping you. Whether
That's what I'm saying. That is the only
Yes.
aspect of the medicine. There is no actual medicine
No,
in
it doesn't actually help you. That's not. the
Yes, it
placebo
does.
effect.
What
No, it
mentally help you? That's it.
No, you can physically live a longer life,
No.
and yes,
No.
Oh,
Your turn.
I'm gonna show you.
Your turn.
I'm gonna show. Well, I can't argue with you without showing you some logic on this. So I will show you some statistical proof that is true.
Okay.
I have a hard time believing. I understand the placebo effect and all that, but it's more on a mental state of a mind. But not. It's not going to cure you of cancers or any diseases.
It only comes about.
Your body is going to do a better job of fighting that.
It only
live
comes
a
about
longer life
from a statistical standpoint where they're using tests, and half the fucking participants are not getting shit but sugar pills. That's where it comes into play.
Placebo, yeah, that's a placebo. Yeah, well,
yeah. If you believe that
Well,
pill you're
under-
taking is going to help you, you're going to do better.
there is
you're gonna have a better chance.
factual. It's factual. If you're depressed or you're really down, your body has a harder time fighting any infections or anything. That is true, but it's not going to be a cure, though.
Hey, Top, you had a question for me.
No,
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
We're so far. Oh, you went to a doctor. Why did you go to the doctor? Just for a healthcare or a healthy visit?
Yeah.
Okay, and everything's clear, so you're good. You just walked out of there and got the flu afterwards.
Yeah, I got the flu from the doctor's office.
Sure.
See that's
You might
my
get
point.
wrecked at the hospital that way.
I was better off not going.
There's no way. In all fairness, McGrande, there's no way you can prove that you got it from the office and not, your travels to the office, you got to the office and touched something that had.
No, I've really become antisocial, Aphid.
I know, but
I can literally track my social interactions.
Yeah, but you touch doorknobs, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. And I do pick my nose, so that's possible.
Well, that's healthy. You should eat your boogers.
No.
I'm joking. Don't do that.
I will never do that.
Want to talk about my terp again?
No, we're past that point.
Yeah.
So how did that work? It went up through and chomped away the bad stuff.
You remember that little ball from Phantasm?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh yes. How could I forget the tall man's ball?
Put that right up your dick.
Oh, that seems totally worth it.
Yeah.
That's one thing he asked me. He goes, "What about urinary?" I go, "Well, I got to get up in the middle of the night." He goes, "You can live with it?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, you can live with it." I go, "Yeah." So he's like telling me not to take any medication for urinary shit.
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's great
medicine.
I know. He's a DO too. Instead of an MD, I've got a DO.
What's a DO?
Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. They have they're more prone towards your body's ability to heal itself versus medicate.
Well, Last Dance would disagree with you on that.
I know. I can feel it. We all want MDs, those Harvard guys, but hey.
It's it's a little strange that a guy who's afraid of going
So
to the doctor
here's the question.
believes that a placebo is just as effective.
No, here's my problem with the placebo. I don't believe that the pill that they're going to take me. I know it's going to be placebo, and I don't think it's going to help me. But I do know that if you do believe that that thing is going to help you, if you believe that that quack down in South America is going to pull the chicken livers out and it's going to be,
I know what you're referring to. Do you know who that was?
What?
In that video? That was Jim Jones.
No,
Jim
not the one I'm talking. Not the one I'm talking about.
I remember a famous video where he claims to cure one of his followers.
Yes, you're
he
absolutely
rubs his
right.
stomach and
you're absolutely right.
What is the chicken gizzard out?
Not the guy I'm talking. The guy I'm talking about was after Jim Jones.
I'm old.
Welcome
and he
to
had
Guyana.
a higher success rate than modern medicine did.
I have a question. So for Last Dance, do you believe that
people that were written off that had no chance?
Do you believe that do you believe that stress has the ability to make someone sick?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think the correlation with the placebo effect is that it removes the stress from their mind so that the aspect of stress is not sending them down to shitsville.
It's too minor.
Exactly.
You're right. They do feel better for a while, but it's too minor and too short-lived to have a significant impact. The placebo.
Well, you have to argue at the same time that chemotherapy and such is also poisonous and killing people. So, like, there's different
Why do I
medicines
have
that
to
do
argue
different
that?
things.
I'm not arguing that one.
Modern medicine, if someone has cancer and they're going to go and get a chicken gizzard rubbed on their stomach and then it's pulled out and then they're good for a while, versus the person goes to the modern medical industry and they get chemotherapy and they're dead in 2 months. Which one was worse? Which one was the fool? I don't know.
Well,
sometimes you get cured by chemotherapy.
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
never going to
right.
get cured by a chicken gizzard.
The Cuban government's been knocking off a lot of studies. The Cuban government actually did something with Bristol Myers out of New York for lung cancer, and it's the it's the treatment immune. They take the immune angle. You can go to Cuba for 15 grand and get complete health care for lung cancer.
Yeah, but what kind of health care they got?
No, they're because they're avant-garde. Because they're not bound. No, they're not bound by any limitations on
science
on medication because they knock everything off. Like Cuba came up with, they were the first ones with the AIDS drug. They knocked off the AIDS drug back when it was a big problem.
So
he means they steal it.
Just slow it down.
He means by knock off.
Knock off. They take the technology and they replicate it
without paying. They steal it. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's cheaper.
Yeah, you can go there for a fixed 15 grand for a cancer treatment. Are you kidding? That'd be like, fuck yeah. Even with insurance, you're gonna go bankrupt getting treated for cancer.
Oh,
yeah, I know. You got a point.
Are we going to address what's causing cancer in America, or just
it's the food? It's yellow 5.
Focus on medicine. Well, you're making fun of that. You're making fun of that, but at the same time, I believe that's part of it.
I'm not denying it, but
what caused cancer in dinosaurs? RW.
I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Is cancer fungus?
No.
Some people see that
it's a random mutation of the daily replication of cells.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what causes that? Is it environmental? Yes, it is, certainly.
There's any number of reasons.
Yeah.
There's any number of reasons.
Could be genetic.
Very hard to isolate a single reason.
Right.
Just
it could be parasitic.
Being exposed to sunlight can cause cancer.
Actually, he's right. He says parasitic, but look what we found out with cervical cancer, right? It's caused by
a viral cause.
Viral
herpes.
Yeah. It's what do they call it?
HPV.
Yeah, thank you. HPV virus.
Human papilloma virus. But there's also herpes viruses that are being studied in relation to cancers in the human body. So there's many causes. I'm just saying if we're consuming carcinogens and they mutate our cells to fail, I mean, that's part of it. We're being hit by many angles.
No, there's no doubt. Look, I just read a thing that
you know what the number one cause of cancer is?
Forever
living longer.
Yeah, that's true.
Your cancer risk increases every year.
Exactly. But,
there's no better way to put it than that.
There was a great article about forever chemicals coming out of rainwater in Miami. I just read it last week. They were testing the rainwater, and it had forever plastics and chemicals were coming down into the rainwater. We always used to think rainwater was like the safest source of water.
Well,
and it's full of fucking contaminants, just like everything else.
Didn't acid rain used to be a thing back in the 90s?
Yeah. Back in the 70s.
Or that was 70s?
They actually solved acid rain?
Yeah, that was Canada.
Clean air standards.
There was deforestation of southern Canada because of the U.S. industries before the EPA came around and limited the fucking toxins being poured out of the factories.
Well, it's ironic that you seem to. Well, you thought Trump was the best president ever. He's trying to remove all these.
I know.
We
know that.
Regulations.
He's trying to, bring back acid rain. That's
here's the funny thing.
That's actually the number one thing on the Project 2025.
Yeah.
You know what the funny thing is? I grew up in bumper-to-bumper traffic before catalytic converters, and let me tell you something. It sucked. The air sucked.
You smoked cigarettes to filter the air?
Well, cigarettes are a choice, Catalytic converters were a mandate that actually worked.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
I'm just joking, man.
Because, how do you get acid now? You got to go and buy it. Before, you could just put out a bucket, wait for it to rain, and there was your acid. It was free. So what's the big deal with acid rain?
That's why Dance was running around with his tongue out.
Exactly. Free acid, yoo-hoo! That one was sulfuric acid. I recognize the taste.
In elementary school, we learned about that, and then all of a sudden, I got older. I'm like, "What happened to acid rain?" My buddy says we see the clouds differently now. So,
there you go.
The government doesn't
friend
think it's
Welshman?
cool.
It was a direct route, dude. Our life is better because of what's going on now, as far as pollutants.
Well,
I
mean, you only have to look at apparently the last few years it's gone backwards, but the average death rate of the human being has steadily increased, since
lifespan, not death rate.
Lifespan. You knew what I meant.
I'm not. Yeah, it's walked backwards.
It's like
it has walked backwards.
Are we blaming guns or
4 years?
Are we
we're blaming Fruit Loops.
No, we're blaming science. That's what we do now. We blame science.
You made a comment about Trump walking back the regulations. My understanding is for cheap energy. So the payout is like we pay less for energy, but we're fucking up the planet.
Well, I mean, if that's the rosy glasses you want to put on, no, he wants.
No, it's not. No, it's not the rosy. I'm not cool with the fact that we're.
No, he wants to. He wants to basically. He wants to remove regulations on every aspect of.
Yeah.
Of
clean water.
That's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't believe it either.
Well,
what? That he wants to remove every regulation?
Yeah,
he wants to whatever profitable direction he can remove regulations on. He will remove regulations on. It has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with.
You're assuming that all regulations are beneficial.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that it's only a financial gain for himself or for the economy.
For himself,
that is the positive. He's not gonna not remove. This is what I'm saying. He's not gonna not remove a regulation on something if it's not going to be financially positive for the economy. Over, it's going to be healthy, positive for human beings.
I can totally see health of the humans dropping more because they're going to get free energy. They're not going to get free energy. They're going to get cheaper energy. Their costs are going to go down. Inflation may go down because they're able to create free energy or cheaper energy.
It's bullshit.
If the payout is more cancer, congratulations on your cheaper bill. I'd love, but I can't see him just wiping regulations off the board. I would think that, poisoning the water so everyone dies. You know, I just don't. I don't. It's hard to swallow that one.
Well, you're now sharing the same fears we have.
My fears are more of the removing of the Constitution and a combination of church and state. I'm more worried about that than cancer.
Yeah, well, for the first time, you know, certain states are legislating that they have to have morning prayer in public schools.
For the first time, it used to be the law all over the country.
It used to be the standard, but separations of religion and state are still paramount. That's that worries me with these guys, because
but it's not exactly
the Christian right.
What's unique about it to me is that they still teach world religions in school. So where's the line drawn? Like, if you're forcing people to pray, that's very different than teaching people what Christianity is amongst all the other world religions.
Guys,
yeah,
I'm getting kind of pooped.
You leaving?
All right.
I'm leaving now. I can leave you on if you want to talk to me.
No, I'm going to bail.
But I'm
have a good night, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Hey, McGrandy. Thanks for stopping by. I really
McGrandy, thanks for chomping in.
All right, buddy.
Good on you.
Thank you.
Good host, man. Good session.
Thank you, RW. It's always great having you.
Yeah, man.
Well,
I'll back myself
take it easy.
out.
All right, everybody. Another enjoyable pub. I hope you enjoyed it too. And have a great week. And we'll see you next week. Take it easy.